This podcast contains detailed plot spoilers, adult language, and mature themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to a podcast of rare antiquities, where we take a diamond in the rough, polish it up, and see if it has any flaws. Except for this week, because we're doing Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. I am your host, Jeff.
This is Harry.
And we got our special guests, Nathan and Andrew. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming back, guys. It's been about 2 years since we've done the full roundtable here. I think for the last Jedi was our last full roundtable. And this is somewhat of a full circle episode for us here, as Harry and I started the show in the lead up to Force Awakens. So kind of a milestone there.
Yes, hopefully it's not the last. Something tragic had happened. Now you're scaring me.
I don't know. It's possible something tragic already happened, but we'll get into the details. We often get into the lead up to the film. So after The Last Jedi came out and the reception there, and there was some trouble in the production for this one. So let's do a bit of a round table here. I want to just talk about what your thoughts were and feelings were in the lead up to this. Any topic is fair game between The Last Jedi and this one. So, Andrew, how about we'll give you the honor of going first here.
Well, I have to say that I was nervous heading into it after The Last Jedi and all the issues with production leading into Rise of Skywalker. There definitely was a sense of, I don't know how they're going to catch up to what they need to do in one movie and end this trilogy and this saga in a 2.5-hour time period, and it feels normal. So the trailers look great. I think it was just, I was nervous because there's so much to cover. So what was great is that Last Jedi set my expectations low. So I went into it not expecting, Star Wars. And I think that was a lot better for this particular movie, but I was just nervous in terms of like how they would wrap everything up.
Okay. Yeah, Nathan, what about yourself?
This was, I think, the first Star Wars movie in a while, at least as an adult anyways, where I went in with almost no knowledge of the movie itself. I watched only the first teaser trailer. I think I saw maybe a couple of marketing photos. I probably could count those on one hand, and then knew that Kerry Russell had been cast in an undisclosed role. So a lot of the other, anything about sort of the production, I knew the director had been replaced and J.J. came back. And so going into it, I felt kind of excited because it was neat knowing nothing really about it. It's kind of nice to do, and it's a hard thing to do as well in this day and age, is to avoid that much. Because I read and watch so much about the Hollywood business that it was tough, and in some ways it was kind of worth it.
You didn't watch the trailers. You only saw the first teaser.
The first teaser, that was it.
Oh shit! Okay. You managed to not watch the second one before the movie?
No.
Oh wow!
Didn't watch it.
Good for you.
Yeah, and that's tough because any other movie. Talk about other movies, but I would have watched the trailer for Endgame about 3 times a week leading up to the movie itself for months on end.
No, but Nathan, did you do that on purpose?
Yes, that was very deliberate this time around.
Okay. Yeah, Harry. What were your thoughts and feelings 2017 to 2019?
Excuse me.
I think you've said enough.
Nice. If you recall, Jeff, when JJ was announced as director, I hit you with a nice little no text there. You just told me to shut the fuck up, calm down. That was my initial gut instinct. I am not a fan of Abrams, so I didn't have faith that he could. I've had faith that from a technical perspective, this movie would look very good, should have some good action. My worry was more on the story. And it's not just JJ. After Last Jedi, how do we wrap this whole thing up? And it's clear that they didn't have a outline or a plan, even when we talked about it last time. So I was a little worried with that. I was also worried, I think I told you, Jeff, that after we saw the first trailer and we hear Palpatine laughing, I really didn't want Palpatine to come back, but maybe his presence was just more of a background spiritual presence that would impact the characters, and that legacy of Palpatine and the Empire would impact this movie. But him coming back in the fold, so the second trailer, when we saw, there was still a possibility it wasn't him or something happened there, and we were hoping it wasn't coming back full time. I had that worry right off the bat, because to me that impacts the previous films if they don't do it right. So it's all about execution, and we'll talk about that. And then we have the problems with Trevorrow, and then just the battle, him getting thrown out the door. I know some of you are not fans of his. I don't want to get down into that aspect of it, but just the battle between JJ and Rian Johnson's vision. If I recall correctly, in the last podcast, Andrew, you had said you were worried that JJ would retcon Rey being a nobody, and that would come right from Abrams about that retcon, and that did happen. So your prediction came true. We'll talk about how that works, or if it doesn't work. So I guess I was really nervous going into this film. I will say the second trailer brought me some feels with the Star Wars theme present there, and 3PO saying one last look. That's obviously him to the audience, not to those characters in the room in the movie. And, it got me. I wasn't crying or anything like that, but it had that kind of emotional feel to it. So I enjoyed the trailer, and I was excited still to go see it. It's still a Star Wars, but I had my reservations.
Okay, good enough. I don't really have words to articulate my own feelings in there, so we're just going to fucking keep on rolling here. So I'm going to roll into the plot now. I'm just going to preface this, guys, and anybody who might be listening. This movie is full of plot. I did my best to keep this as concise as possible, but you might have to buckle in here a little bit. All right, let's do this. All right, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Hey, just a heads up, everybody. Palpatine here, just to let you all know I didn't die, and in 16 hours, I'm going to blow up all your shit. So yeah, just saying, bye. After the words of a resurrected ex-Emperor are tweeted out across the galaxy, we meet Kylo Ren rock-bottoming his way through enemy troops on the planet Mustafar in his quest to retrieve a Sith Wayfinder, which will lead him to the ancient world of Exegol. He already killed one wrinkly old asshole in order to rule the galaxy. He's certainly not letting another get in the way. And there he is, the OG bad guy, Big Daddy Palpatine. Well, Big Granddaddy Palpatine, actually. We'll come back to that later. How is he alive? Turns out the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. I think the only thing unnatural in here is the smell. Am I right? I've seen healthier looking corpses, which is what Kylo wants to turn old Palpy into. But the Emperor makes him a deal. Palpatine wants Rey. In return, Kylo can have this gigantic fleet of Star Destroyers. Now let's go catch up with the good guys for a bit. Poe, Finn, Chewie are zipping around in the Falcon. Rey is on another planet training up her Force abilities under Leia's watchful eye. And when the Falcon returns with some vital information, which is the name of the planet the Emperor is hiding on, just not the location, Rey has a clue. Looks like Luke jotted down some crib notes in the ancient Jedi texts she stole from the old temple, detailing his search for the lost Sith planet. His search ended on the planet Pasaana, where our heroes journey to next. There, they run into the First Order, get some help from the original smooth operator himself, Lando Calrissian. Lando points them in the direction of an old ship where Luke's original search went cold. Rey recognizes it. The ship that took off from the desert after leaving her behind on Jakku. It's the property of an old Jedi hunter, Ochi. On the ship, they find another clue, a dagger inscribed in the ancient language of the Sith. 3PO can read it, but the Sith are just so darn evil that his circuits won't physically allow him to translate it for everyone else. Sorry, guys. Then, Kylo and the E Street Band show up, along with the First Order, kidnap Chewie, and make away with the Sith dagger. Poe, Finn, and Rey escape with their skins, and Poe has yet another new destination, planet Kijimi, where his old band of playmates help extract the information from 3PO's brain. Only at the cost of all of 3PO's memories, but no one gives a shit about that, so it's all good. The translated dagger points to a moon in the Endor system. Endor system, that sounds familiar. But before they can get underway, Ren and the Kylograms jump into the system. Rey and Kylo face each other down, and he has a few little tidbits to share with her. Remember that last movie where I told you were nothing, your parents were nothing? Yeah, just forget about all of that. You're actually Emperor Palpatine's granddaughter. Meanwhile, Poe and Finn grab this opportunity to rescue Chewie, and their escape is assisted by none other than General Hux. No, he's not a good guy now. He just wants to stick it to Kylo and his stupid emo buddies. Okay, so now the gang is all back together, and it's off to the Endor system. Whew, what is this, like the 5th planet we visited so far? 6th? Man, are my arms tired. First, they run into some old stormtrooper deserters and their horses, and then they find wreckage from old Death Star 2. Rey dangerously pilots herself out there alone, and adjacent to the Emperor's old throne room is the second Sith Wayfinder. And no sooner does she have it in her hand that Kylo Ren, this time without his band, I guess you could say he's making his solo debut here, shows up to take it over from her and destroys it. He does want to take her back to Palpatine, but not to turn her over. His plan is to turn her to the dark side, and together they can destroy the Emperor and rule the galaxy, finally finishing what Vader started. Rey doesn't dig the plan, though, and the two get busy with the lightsabers. Kylo gains the upper hand, but before he can finish Rey, Leia calls out to him across the abyss of space using the Force. This distraction gives Rey just enough time to pull a Darth Maul on Kylo, impaling him right in the guts. Kylo was down, but Rey senses a terrible disturbance in the Force. Much like her brother, the galactic long-distance call is just too much of a strain, and Leia's no more. Perhaps out of guilt, perhaps because she senses he still has a role to play in the story, Rey reaches out and uses the Force to heal Kylo's wound, saving his life. She then steals Kylo's ship and leaves him and her friends behind. Rey's mercy seems to have left an impression on poor Kylo. Why would she save his life? As he ponders at the edge of the vast ocean before him, he encounters his dear old dad, Han Solo. Maybe a memory, maybe a Force vision of an old friend long gone. Han gives his son what he needs. What he's already had inside him, the strength to do what he needs to. He throws his lightsaber into the ocean. Kylo Ren is dead. We catch up to Rey on Ahch-To, where she has crashed Kylo's ship and is prepared to remain in exile. Force Ghost Luke shows up, telling her that confronting fear is her destiny, whatever that means. Anyway, the pep talk works. Luke gives Rey Leia's old lightsaber, pulls up his old X-Wing from the lagoon, and tells her to get back out there, kid, and give him hell. She pulls the first Sith Wayfinder from the wreckage of Kylo's ship and charts the path to Exegol, leaving signals for the resistance to follow. She confronts the Emperor, who, it turns out, doesn't want her dead. No, it seems this Emperor needs some new clothes. She must strike him down, which will allow his spirit to pass into her, and it will be Rey who sits on the Sith throne, because that's just how that works. The Resistance jumps in and does battle with the gazillion or so Star Destroyers, which are all equipped with Death Star lasers, by the way, in an attempt to halt the Sith fleet before it can be deployed across the galaxy. And who shows up just in time to join Rey in the fight against the Emperor? That's right. Ben Solo has rolled in and he's ready for a reunion. And look, there's John, Ringo, Paul, and the rest of the Knights of Ren. Maybe he should have kept that lightsaber after all. Rey, sensing Ben's peril, uses her unique connection with him to force FedEx Luke's lightsaber to him so he can take them down. Then, together, Ben and Rey face down the Emperor. Whatever, they're just a couple of kids. Palpatine uses the dark side to suck the life force from them both and regenerates his broken old body. Looks like he won't need that fresh young vessel after all. After draining them almost dry, Palpatine is looking, well, not good exactly, but stronger. And hey, look, he got those new clothes after all. Ben tries to bum rush the old man, but he picks him up like a rag doll and tosses him down a chasm. See how you like it, asshole. Rey staggers to her feet, weary, weak, but ready to take one last stab at the Emperor with her lightsaber. Foolish child. One lightsaber's no match for the Emperor. It's barely enough to deflect his force lightning. Oh, but wait, she has two lightsabers. Oh shit, that's just way too much to defend against. Rey deflects all the lightning right back into his face and melts the old codger so hard he fucking explodes. But the strain is too great, and Rey succumbs to fate. Also, Finn and Poe and all those guys do some blowing up of Star Destroyers. They do a pretty good job. Except for Porkins 2. He totally eats shit. Ben climbs his way out of the chasm, finds Rey's lifeless body. Channeling the Force, he transfers his own life back into her, raising her from the dead, finally fulfilling his grandfather's quest. She draws breath again, the two share a kiss, but Ben just doesn't have any gas left in the tank, and he becomes one with the Force. Rey takes both Luke's and Leia's lightsabers to the old Lars homestead on Tatooine, where she buries them together. Don't worry, she has her own new yellow-bladed lightsaber, though, and she's primed to carry on the Skywalker name herself. The end. Whew. Okay, boys, there we go. I need a drink here, Homer. So that's the film, guys. So Act 1 opens, obviously, with traditional Star Wars crawl. And I do want to just talk about this a little bit because it is a major piece of Star Wars history to have the crawl, and it's also very likely the last time we'll ever have one. So for me personally, I kind of thought there was a lot of exposition in this crawl. And that's, again, what the crawl is for, is the exposition. It felt like it was shoehorning in an entire movie's worth of information.
It was describing another movie that we didn't watch.
Yeah, that's how it felt.
That was when that crawl ended, I was immediately, oh boy, here we go. Like, even for the other Star Wars movies, that the ones that I don't like, at least the crawl, it would give me a little bit of excitement, and still, and they all still do to a certain extent. But what this was describing was, I want to use the word sloppy, because it was expositional in a way that the other crawls are not.
Yeah, it did feel like that to me as well.
I had a bizarre feeling. It was the most bizarre crawl I've read. Not just the way it was written, like with the dead speak and all that kind of stuff. It was just the way it was written, but it's just, these are things, as Nathan said, it felt like you're describing something we should have seen already. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure most of you know that reveal of the Emperor coming back happened in a video game as part of the pre-marketing for this movie.
Yeah.
It happened during a Fortnite special event or something like that.
Oh my God.
So that message of Palpatine announcing that he's coming back, warning and all that kind of stuff, that happened in a Fortnite special event before the movie was launched.
Oh boy. I did not know that.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was just expecting someone to say, we should buy this trilogy of books or subscribe to this particular subscription service in order to figure out exactly how Palpatine came back versus, Fortnite. I totally missed that. That would have been so nice. Yeah, no, that's awful.
That is one of the most cynical, and Disney is a cynical marketing machine in many ways, but that really takes the cake. And for such a major plot point, too.
Well, they just still don't explain everything. You just hear the message. They don't explain how he came back or anything like that. It's just, here's the actual message that he launches to the whole galaxy that he releases, which is kind of weird because, correct me if I'm wrong, the beginning of this movie, the rebels with that kind of mole gets his head lopped off.
Mhm.
Later, they found out through him, or was there still a message to, I'm still confused after even watching it twice. Was there a message sent throughout the galaxy or not?
There was a message, so there was a message that everybody heard, but what the information that the rebels got through their mole was the name of the planet he was on.
Oh, Exegol. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
So
They knew they were looking for Exegol, but they didn't know where it was.
That's fine.
As a quick aside, between the opening and the first, couple of scenes of Kylo Ren and he's searching for this Wayfinder, my first thoughts were back to the old Star Wars MMO, Star Wars Galaxies. And funny enough, they did like a very similar thing, not a tie-in with a movie, but where they just have a huge announcement across the galaxy from Darth Vader. I think when one of the first characters became a Jedi or something like that. I was like, oh, okay. Kylo Ren's is hunting down these Wayfinders just to unlock the next level. And that's actually what ended up happening. So weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, the crawl felt like it would be an explanation that someone would give to you if you missed the first 30 minutes of the movie because you're in the bathroom. And like that would be a great way to come into a movie. Like, oh, that's what I missed. But unfortunately, it just felt awkward because I wanted to see the reveal of Palpatine. I wanted to see how he came back versus just like, ta-da, he shows up. I'm like, okay, sure, that's great.
Yeah, I've noticed this a bit in some of JJ's work. Like occasionally I think it works well, not just like, I mean, he's not the only person to do this sort of thing where you take what would otherwise be a major reveal and to kind of undercut it, you just put it out there that it's just normal. And it works sometimes and I mean, in this case, it didn't work. So, or at least, I don't know, it's bizarre. It's weird. So yeah, there's some action scenes here. Chewie, Finn, and Poe are on the Millennium Falcon and they've got the intelligence from this mole. They're doing the light speed skipping and that's just, some starfighter action there. Not too much happening. And we see Rey training as Jedi. I was confused here. Are we supposed to understand that Leia is training her or is she just like watching?
It's not clear. She just calls her Master Skywalker or Master, I don't know, Master something. I don't know what she was calling, Master Organa? I can't remember. But anyways, it's not 100% clear. I think the intention is that Leia was giving her some advice here. And I just want to come out and say it. Why the fuck is Luke not trying? If he kind of turned, did a heel turn and said, okay, I got to help at the end of the last one. Here's an opportunity for Luke to have a bit more presence and a better relationship with Rey in the movie. Even just deal with it in the crawl. You don't want to show Luke. You don't want to give him any minutes. Do it in the crawl. She's been training with Luke off screen.
I would like more Luke as well.
No, but I'm just saying, here's an opportunity to fix something that was a huge problem to me in The Last Jedi. To a lot of people, they don't have a good relationship. They try and mend it at the end, but they don't have a good relationship. Here's an opportunity that I think they botched. And you could have dealt with that in the crawl.
I totally agree. And actually, it could have fixed two problems. One, establishing the relationship between the two of them. And also, you wouldn't have the weird interactions with Carrie Fisher. I couldn't not see the edit lines in between, like her dialogue and dialogue with everyone else. Now, I get that, her passing kind of puts them in a bit of a bind because they're like, okay, we want to keep her in the movie. And I wonder if they felt, well, this is the only way we can do it because they didn't have enough dialogue to fit her into any other scene. And so if it's just Rey doing all the heavy lifting as far in the dialogue between the two of them, and it's just reactions from her, they thought, oh, okay, that's the best way we can put it in her. But yeah, why is she doing this training? And I was confused about that too. I think the implication, yes, she is helping train, but I can't see how Rey wouldn't have completely surpassed her right away.
I don't think we have to kind of go, here's a measure of power level or, I can do this trick, you can't do that trick kind of thing. I mean, Leia has wisdom, and I don't want to take that away from the character of Leia. She deserves that kind of respect. And I was happy with what they did with Leia. I was surprised with all of her scenes, to be frank. I know that you can kind of tell they massaged the scenes around whatever dialogue and scenes that she had from The Force Awakens. I thought it was marvelously done. Pleasantly surprised.
That was fine. And I don't mean to undercut the contributions of the character as a whole throughout all the movies. And I don't mean that, Rey can have this power, that power, but in just like the Force, there's still an establishment with what the Force is, that if someone trains in it more, it's kind of hard for me to articulate it exactly. I've never really thought about it too much, but it seems as though Leia would not be the right teacher, or at least would only be a good teacher up to a point. Yes, she has knowledge to impart, but we don't see that though. Maybe they'll come up with a book later on. I'm sure that's going to happen at some point.
Well, the interesting thing here is from my knowledge, I haven't read any of these books that they've established. So just from my understanding of how even the old books went, because going back to the Zahn novels and things like that, and I think they partially dealt with some of this here too with the character of Leia. I think that she had some training with Luke, but she rejected a lot of it mainly because of her responsibilities to the Republic. There just wasn't time for her to do both. So I think she did some and then just left it because the government responsibilities outweighed the need of her training. And Luke went off and did his own thing there's already some stories here, I guess, with this new canon. He went off and did his own thing. He wasn't sticking around training Leia, from what I know. He was just searching this, searching that, exploring the galaxy, and then finally established his new order or whatever, his temple.
That's all correct. I've only read one or part of one book, and yeah, that's all correct.
Well, that's intimated in those flashback scene where Luke and Leia are they're dueling with their lightsabers with the blast shield helmets on, right? And that was like her last training, right? So they did intimate at that in this film. So I'll give them that. It is clear that she rejected, if not rejected the training, but yeah, like Harry, you said, she had other responsibilities that just didn't allow her to do both, right? Yeah, that's fine.
But I guess, just round table, do you guys agree that this was an opportunity for her to train with Luke in some aspect?
Well,
100%, yes.
Andrew?
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Yeah, I think I'm in general disagreement with that because then we kind of need to grapple with how much influence the dead are supposed to be able to have. Because then, if Luke could train her from beyond the grave, then why didn't Obi-Wan train Luke from beyond the grave? We know Qui-Gon, Yoda intimated that Qui-Gon came back. Why didn't he get involved from beyond the grave? Or Anakin, for that matter, right? How come he didn't get involved from beyond the grave to help train Kylo to keep him from the dark side? So, you could have done that, but then there are too many other questions to open it up. These characters who are dead, either they've been vanquished or they've sacrificed themselves. Then they get to have their cake and eat it too. And I don't think that's the right direction to go, because then there is no limit to their power and they can just do whatever they want. And I think that also would take away from Luke's sacrifice at the end of The Last Jedi. It's yeah, my body's gone, but I'm still around, guys. It's cool. Could he jump into that X-Wing and, pilot it, and shoot down all those Star Destroyers, one of the greatest pilots in the galaxy? Probably not, right? So I don't think that would have made much sense. She has to find her own way without him after. It would have been nice to have had more of him, but he's dead. So,
okay,
I don't know.
I hear you. Let's move on.
Just really quick, it just seems like and I understand the intent. I think the plan originally was to have Leia train her, but given what footage was available, we didn't get that connection there because of what they had left on the cutting room table or the cutting room floor. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you're right there, Andrew. Again, they were dealt a real tough hand here. That hangs over the movie, and I'm actually with Harry. I thought they did a really good job integrating what they had from a completely different movie into this.
Oh yeah, I was shocked. Yeah. That was to me one of the highlights of the film. I was like, wow, they actually managed that. That was fantastic.
Okay, so let's move on a little bit. So we're at the Rebel base. I just want to make a comment on the Rebel base there. So we get the return of Greg Grunberg's Porkins 2.
Sorry, Jeff, before we move on, because I think if we keep moving on, we're going to skip this part. Basically, you talked about Kylo finding the Wayfinder, but then we immediately get him hitting Exegol and seeing Palpatine before any of this other stuff is happening.
Oh, right.
Do you guys want to have a quick chat about that? Because I'm not sure how I feel about the reveal of Palpatine right off the bat at the beginning of the movie. Part of me likes it, part of me doesn't like it, but I guess because the message is out, it's out, so he's back. But what do you guys think of all that? I'm still trying to understand what the motivations here is for Kylo Ren. Is he just trying to, okay, I'll bring you the girl or kill the girl, or what is he doing? And he's trying to like do what Vader did with Luke, I guess, as you said in your synopsis. Like he'll turn Rey to the dark side and then they'll go kill the Emperor. I'm not sure what he wants here.
I think that's Kylo's motivation as we kind of see at the end of The Last Jedi. Like he's not playing second fiddle to anybody anymore. Nobody has, like Vader was always under the thrall of the Emperor until the very end. And Kylo kind of decided that's not how he's going to roll. So he went there to kill him. But I do think he does want to strike that bargain. He wants the Last Order and the power of the Last Order, all of those Star Destroyers, is appealing to him. So that's kind of what I felt. I figured if you're going to put Palpatine in it and it's not a surprise, you may as well throw him in right away. So I was okay with it. It gets out of the way. I mean, it's some pretty greasy exposition in there with, I've been the voice in your head the whole time and I made Snoke. He's got that vat of Snoke's there.
Yes. So I actually thought one of them waved to the audience as she passed by. I looked at it. I looked for it the second time. There's the one in the back. I think one of them is waving his hand. Probably floating in the liquid, but one of them's waving.
You should have done like the wink and the gun in the background there.
Well, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it was more a matter of, okay, we've already pulled the Band-Aid of declaring that the Emperor is back. So we may as well just show him here. And a lot of the movie is like this. It plays out like video game logic. I have to get the next thing to unlock the next cutscene sort of thing. And so I imagine that the play was, we have all this exposition. Let's get out of the way so we could just jump right into some action.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the question I have here is, you see Palpatine, there's no explanation as to how he's coming back. He's got all these Star Destroyers. I mean, at this point, you see him lift that whole fleet up, whether he's using the Force or they're just doing it on his own based on his command at that point, showing Kylo here. As you said, Jeff, in your synopsis, this will be your fleet. You do whatever, do this for me, and here you go, and all of these things. I mean, but, Kylo agrees to do this. Why? I mean, he's probably playing Palpatine, but this whole thing is very confusing. And he's been brought back, I guess, by some black magic. I'm assuming. I have no idea who these people are that are, I think you later see that there's a football stadium full of Sith cult followers or whatever. I'm not sure who they are and what they're doing.
Okay, were they real? I really felt for the longest time that they were not real. Like that they were some sort of like similar to Force ghosts, but just the Sith version.
No, they get crushed by the collapse of that stadium. Like you see the rocks and stuff fall onto them, and
that's right. Yeah. Later on. But I mean, let's just get it on the table. Do we buy Palpatine is back? Do we buy this story point here? Is it cheap? Is it lazy? I mean, let's get this all out on the table.
Okay, I'll start here. I bought it insofar as the logic of the Star Wars universe. So like the physicality of it, like he's not a clone. It's Palpatine, and he's, the way I took it is like he survived the fall down the giant chasm in much the same way that Anakin had all of his limbs chopped off and basically was burned alive next to a pool of magma and managed to hold himself together while they were able to use technology to sustain him. So I kind of assumed a similar thing, and that's what it looked like. Like he's clearly being kept alive by machines. He's fucked up. He's not at full power. So the logistics of that, fine. Storytelling, I just didn't think it was a good idea to use him as the villain. That's the problem I have, but I'll come back to that point later.
How about Andrew, Nathan, what do you guys think?
I think Jeff put it well. It's like, for example, Darth Maul. Like when Darth Maul came back as part of Clone Wars, like I bought it, A, because I liked the character, but B, they also spent time to explain kind of what happened and just his progression as a character. So I felt like I bought it from a Star Wars universe perspective. Like, okay, yeah, but it's happened before, it can happen again. It just felt as if that reveal should have happened either in the second movie or Palpatine should have been the villain from the get-go at the end of the first movie and just played out. And so, yeah, story-wise, totally okay. It's just completely rushed, which is like the theme of this movie, is trying to get everything in without telling how things progressed the way they did, which is, I think, what everyone wanted to find out versus just throwing themselves in the midst of things.
Yeah, I sort of fall in between a few viewpoints where a couple things. From a story perspective, I don't really care for it. I think that to make these movies kind of move on from the original trilogy, it shouldn't have gone down this path. Now, to the actual mechanics, like the in-story explanation or lack thereof of how he came back, yeah, I can buy it. I didn't need even more exposition of like, oh, well, so-and-so found like a piece of the Emperor and recon. I don't need any of that. It's magic. I actually kind of appreciated that they didn't even go into the details of the specifics of how he came back. It just looks all weird, and he's in a place with a bunch of bats and whatnot. So I don't know. I bought it at least on that level.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy any of this. I'll be the dissenter in the group as per normal. Yeah, no, I don't buy it because he vaporized and then the Death Star exploded. So I'm not keen on any of this. I know it's all black magic and Sith magic and all this stuff. So from a story perspective, in terms of explanation, I didn't need them to get into the weeds of how he came back. I just don't buy him coming back whatsoever. I think it cheapens the entire story. We can talk about it or not. I think it completely affects Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, Anakin coming back, fulfilling his destiny, wiping him out. That's the end of that. And that's George Lucas has come out and said that's the end of that. He told Hamill, McDermott, that's not part of the story, is the Emperor coming back. These guys decided to do something different. Fine. They have the right to do that. They don't have to follow George's material, but it doesn't work. It cheapens everything. And I just want to put it down here. Why the fuck if you're bringing someone back, why isn't it Snoke then? He's part of this trilogy. He has no impact on anything else. I'm just really confused onto why they decided to bring Palpatine back with no hint of anything here in these last movies, and the other concept of it impacts the original trilogy. It impacts George's vision. They keep talking about, we gotta respect these characters. We gotta respect what George did. Why is he back? I just don't get it. Why is Snoke not brought back? I don't know. I just thought I'd pose a question to you guys. Why isn't it Snoke instead of Palpatine then?
That's a good question. There's plenty more of him in those vats. Why wasn't he back?
That's right.
Harry, I'm as confused as you as to what were they thinking. I would like to know who the dissenter was to say maybe bringing Palpatine is not a good idea.
And here's another problem. So I'm going to lay it out here. Trevorrow's script, which has leaked, whether you want to talk about it or not, Palpatine was not back. So it wasn't part of any plan. Jay wanted to bring Palpatine back. I have a feeling it's because he thought Snoke was eliminated in Rian Johnson's movie. So he's fucked. So he made a decision. Do I bring Snoke back or do I bring Palpatine back? So he made the choice of Palpatine. By my opinion, it should have been Kylo Ren. We talked about this before. Kylo versus Rey. I thought that would have been more interesting, and I want to get into a couple of other interesting concepts here, especially when you talk about the descent in the First Order a little bit, and Hux. How much more interesting would it have been is if you have Hux who's, high up in the command of the First Order, and there's kind of like an internal conflict there. You got the Knights of Ren following Kylo Ren. You got some aspects of the First Order following Hux. Do you not think that would have been a more interesting story? Instead of just bringing this dead villain back and now everyone's just following the dead villain and it's kind of, a vanilla story. That gives the Resistance an opportunity to come and take advantage. Their fleet is obliterated. They have nothing left. So that gives them an opportunity. Man, the First Order, Hux is fighting Hux. The Resistance has an opportunity to come in and do some damage. That would have been far more interesting. I don't know if you guys agree. That's just my first fucking instinct.
I like all that. Just what I heard, I like all that. And you're right. That is totally, it's all Abrams. And also a special shout out to Chris Terrio. How many chances is that fucking guy going to get? Honestly, he's just written turd after turd. I mean, at least JJ, I don't dislike him as much as you do, Harry, but okay, he's made a few things that I think are acceptable, but Terrio's got to go. That guy's failed upward too many times. I like all that. Yeah, well, those are all great questions. And actually, I think you just posed a better movie just right then and there.
I don't know. Jeff, Andrew, thoughts?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I have things to say about, I want to get deeper into the film because there's other points that I think tie into this. You're definitely not off base. I get where you're coming from. So. Okay,
well, why don't we just then forget Palpatine now. I just want to chime in with the first part of the movie here. So we talk about, I enjoy the fact that the heroes are off having their own first adventure. Did you guys know that Hamill was the voiceover for the character who was the mole? Gave him that information.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Well, so a little trivia for you there. So that was Mark Hamill. I'm not a fan of the light speed skipping. We should have a little bit more verisimilitude is the term I'd like to use there, of some consistency and obeying the rules of the universe. I don't buy it at all. So I don't like seeing
transwarp beaming. That's what we should have.
That's right.
Transwarp beaming. Yeah. Transwarp beaming. This is Abrams. He's just He just wants to create a fun sequence. It's an okay fun sequence, but obey the fucking rules of the universe. So I don't like that, but be that as it may, still had fun. I liked the characters, Poe and Finn having some fun little adventure at the beginning. And I like that first that first conflict within the group. So when they come back to the Rebel base, Resistance base, you see Rey having a bit of a spat with Poe. I enjoyed some of these dynamics. Wish they were in the other movies, but I'm glad we got to see some of that here. You know, the characters having a bit of a banter and a bit of an argument. Felt real, felt good. I enjoyed some of that.
Yeah, they have good chemistry, the three actors together. They have good chemistry, and it is a shame that this is actually the first time we get to see them all together. Because they are all good.
That's right, but I enjoyed seeing that. That was good, despite the fact that there was some logic, universe-breaking rules there, but sometimes you gotta let things go, I guess.
We'll talk about this again after when it comes to the rules of the universe. I honestly didn't think Greg Grunberg would have survived the siege on their base in The Last Jedi, but good for him for sticking around. Fucking Porkins too there. How about John McMonahan showing up out of nowhere? Like, well, it's like he just wandered on set one day or something, and like,
well, I got
JJ's like, hey,
they should have had the dog from Lost there too.
They should have, yeah.
Why not?
It's like, hey, Dominic, you want to get in on this? Yeah, no, whatever you have on is fine. Just jump in there, man. It's great.
They were also playing the character like we'd seen him before.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I was so like, wait a second. Was he in one of the other two? I actually had to question if he had been in one of the previous ones.
Well, I'm not a fan of introducing brand new characters in the third act of the movie like this. So
yeah, and we get a bunch in this movie, didn't we? Like we don't have enough characters before here. Holy shit!
So I mean, like you're taking time away from your main characters, which is mistake 101. So it's not good. You know, I know the internet's gone ablaze about Rose taking a backseat. She got Jar Jar'd in this movie.
She did get Jar Jar.
She did get Jar Jar'd. So, I mean, I enjoyed Kelly Marie Tran. She should have had more things to do in this movie. But, I mean, even saying that, you don't need to have these new characters, especially Dominic Monaghan. Just JJ's at this point saying, you know, I'm royally fucked either way, so I'm just going to put my friends in the movie. There you go.
And I completely agree with that. Yeah, he looked at it. I think he talked about it and was like, this is fucked. This is all fucked. So I'm just gonna do this. Yeah.
I'm going to have some fun making this movie, and here's my buds and my close pals, and invite some other close pals, and there you go.
He Adam Sandler did, is what he did there. All right.
Let's move on.
Shit. Okay, so let's move on. So we basically get into the plot of the film here, which is going to be a planet-hopping adventure. And we could talk about how well that works as we go here. So the first destination is the planet, what did I say? The other.
It's Pisana.
Pisana. Right. Okay. So we get to Pisana and we meet up with Lando. What the hell is Lando doing in this role here? That's really fun. I mean, I was happy to see him, but
this is funny. This is funny shit. I want to pose a question. Luke was such a jackass that he buggered off and no one knew where he went. Was Lando there waiting the whole time? Where the fuck is Luke?
Yeah. There the whole time, 40 years later.
That would have been a great reveal.
I think that would have been great. He's like, I've been waiting this whole time. Where the fuck is Luke? He took my ship. I can't get off the planet.
I don't have a ship. Oh, man.
And he's like working as like a busboy somewhere. He's like, I've been undercover as a busboy in this place.
Why did he stay there? Like, why was he hanging out here for decades?
So no, he's not there for decades. So when I was confused the first time. Second watch, he does say that Leia sent a message to Lando to meet them there, or something along those lines.
So was he undercover as this busboy, or whatever the hell?
That I can't answer. So
feels pretty lived in, right? Because he also says, "I'm out of the fight. My flying days are over."
Yeah, so I mean, the script doesn't make sense. He's just there because
he's there because
he's there simply because. Okay. So there you go.
Okay. So
let's talk about Lando. Seeing Lando. Are you happy to see Lando? I was happy to see Lando. I thought he did a great job.
100%. Yeah. He's still got it.
Oh, he's still got it. He's charismatic, smooth. I wanted to fucking smoke a cigarette as soon as he had it for his first line there. So I thought it was great. How about you guys? Andrew, chime in. What do you think? Lando.
Yeah, I thought it was great to see Lando. Once again, it would have been nice to see him, in the beginning and not just shoehorned into the movie because JJ had a little too much memberberry juice before writing the script for this movie.
Writing's the generous term.
Yeah, and that's where it's like Lando's great. He's probably just in his brothel for the last few decades. And, it's great to see him, and he had a great interaction with all the other characters. It was, I think, too late in the game for me to see that attachment, which should have been built over a couple movies.
I agree. I mean, mean, I hear where you're coming from, 100%. I mean, these characters should have been there in The Force Awakens in some aspects, but be that as it may.
Yeah, I was happy to see him, and it was kind of a surprise actually, because unfortunately, like, the odd rumor here and there kind of would pass in front of me, and I would ignore it. And I heard, well, maybe Lando Calrissian might come back or whatever, but I didn't. So when he did show up, I was actually genuinely surprised. But I wish he had more to do. I wish he was a little more integral to the plot, because he just kind of shows up, talks to them, and then it's been a long time since I've seen it, and the Wikipedia entry is not that detailed. So, and then I know he kind of shows up at the end, but it was just a weird, superfluous walk on, and I think that character deserves a little bit more. Honestly felt like they're just throwing you a bone. Hey, here's so and so. Remember Lando Calrissian? I really wish he had more to do in the movie other than just kind of show up and rescue them once.
Yeah, I'll just say this. He's in his mid to late 80s, looking great. I was happy with what I saw.
Hey, he can just sit down for his scenes, okay? He doesn't need to do action. If he's flying. You're sitting. I hear what you're saying, though.
I was fine. I was good with it. I don't feel like he was shoehorned in. I mean, if I look at his role in the original trilogy, I mean, he's kind of an add-on there, too, isn't he? Like, isn't every character outside of Han, Luke, and Leia an add-on? For the good guys? Oh, well, I guess Chewie as well, Like, he was an add-on then. So
maybe more in Jedi, but I think in Empire, he actually, serves an actual purpose to the story. So, much more than this.
No, he serves in it. He definitely serves an actual, he's very important to the story of Empire, but he's not part of the gang.
Sure.
In Empire. And so, he comes in here.
He's part of the gang in Return of the Jedi, though. He's there with them throughout the whole movie, essentially.
And he does important stuff. He's just not a driver of. But he's not a driver. He only
blew up the second Death Star. He does stuff.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Ian Nub was flying the ship. Come on, let's guys. Wedge already took out the North Tower.
And he already had that, and he's got that. So you're just saying it's that whole crew in the cockpit that's doing all the work?
Well, listen, as we all know, Lando's job is to look good, and he does that. Everybody else can do the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Lando's about looking good.
Yes.
That's supposed to be a joke, everybody. I'm so stiff today.
I'm laughing on the inside.
It's also true, though.
Okay.
Let's talk about the Pasana and the story here. All of it.
Okay. Actually, a lot happens here plot-wise, but okay. I don't know where I want to start with. I'll save my thoughts on some of this for later. So Rey starts to get some intimations of her past, because the ship that we see that they eventually find is the ship that was in her memory that left her behind on Jakku. So we start to see that this is going to start to tie in. I start to get worried now, because this is my first hint that, okay, JJ's just going to retcon her heritage now. He's going to throw away everything that happened in The Last Jedi. And that was the one thing of everything that I didn't want him to do, and this is the one thing I wanted him not to touch, was to leave Rey and all of that alone. I wanted to leave all of that alone. And I'll talk about why after. As soon as she sees that ship, then I'm like, oh, he's not going to stick to that. Okay. She learns a new force power, force heal, and it's actually almost strange that this is a new force power, isn't it? Doesn't it seem... I think I've heard a lot of people kind of bitching about this one, and even JJ anticipated some fan anger about the new force powers he was going to introduce. But this actually feels like a very natural force power to me, which she heals that giant snake.
I want to tell you one thing.
I had just watched The Mandalorian, so that was not a surprise.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. They had done that on episode 2 or 3, right?
And you know what? They timed it perfectly. This was deliberate. That story where Baby Yoda heals the guy, Apollo Creed, Sorry, he's a fucking Apollo Creed.
He did.
I'll always know.
What's that astronaut's name?
He didn't die at the end of Rocky IV. He lives. He lives.
That's the sequel to Creed right there.
Yeah,
exactly. Anyways, yeah, but I mean, they planned it like that. So that reveal happened. Was it the week of the release? I believe it was.
No, I don't think
you're
so.
Right.
It was the day before.
Yeah, the day.
It was
the day before. I didn't catch it. I missed a couple. I didn't miss them, but I watched them not right away, I think. So
no, it was the week of release.
Okay,
so the day before. So...
Harry, I believe you're right. Yeah.
So we're good with that. I think we're okay with the force healing, right? You know what I actually liked? I think this is the first time that a hero character in the Star Wars trilogy didn't regard a wild animal with disdain and just wanted to murder it with a lightsaber right away. So I like that.
And I do.
Because Luke sure didn't give a fuck about wild animals. He murdered everything in the original trilogy. He's blowing up womp rats. He's cutting off arms of womp rats. He fucked up that Rancor.
The Wampa?
Fuck.
I will say this. There was an interview with Mark Hamill. He actually said, the expectation he had was that the Wampa was going to live. He was going to singe the fur. He was going to run out the gate. And he was shocked beyond belief. And he rejects that whole scene that the Wampa's arm got cut off. And there's a hilarious Robot Chicken thing of him running into the Wampa later. Same the one-arm Wampa.
I mean, if there's one thing that you learn from being Obi-Wan's protege, it's how to dismember a motherfucker, though, right? Like, I went back and did the math.
That's just gonna be the new Obi-Wan series. He's just gonna be arms off, left, right, center.
So I went back and actually I haven't done the calculus on The Last Jedi here, but like up to and including The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens is the only Star Wars movie that does not feature dismemberment. Every other movie, somebody's limbs are getting cut off. So yeah, anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, so we're under the stand here. I guess there's a lot of conveniences here. So we get the Sith. Okay, so the Sith dagger is inscribed with the clue that the 3PO says, "Yep, this is the clue. All right, I can read it. I just can't tell anybody about it." And this really pissed me off. I thought this was really dumb here that 3PO can't decode this language because somebody okay.
Who would program the fucking droid not to be able to read Sith?
Never heard of DRM.
No, but not even that. Why wouldn't that be an advantage to the good guys for the droid to be able to transcribe Sith?
Exactly.
The fucking stupid.
That was dumb. And
it's like in World War II, we're going to outlaw German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That enigma was Sheena away. It's evil.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It was an excuse for them to get to the next planet. That's why.
That's right. It is an excuse to get to the next planet. You know what? We didn't need an excuse to get to the next planet. The movie's 2.5 fucking hours long. And the next sequence on the next planet, we get to explore, like if we want to explore Poe's backstory, which isn't necessary, by the way, they could have found another way to do it.
He could have had a relationship with the snake.
Yeah, I mean.
Maybe. Long time no see. Whatever.
Okay. Oh, well, let's not jump over. Okay, so the whole thing so Chewie gets captured because obviously he doesn't understand. How long has Chewie been fighting with the resistance here that he's like, I'm just going to run headfirst into this cabal of evil creatures. And come on, man, you got to be smarter than that. I just found that this was a bit of a contrivance. Like, I actually like the scene where he's trying to pull the ship out of the sky. I thought that was pretty cool. And she's like fighting with Kylo over the ship, and she has that outburst, that flash of anger, and she can't quite control her power. So she just blows up that ship. I thought that was good. I mean, we don't obviously care that she kills a bunch of, stormtroopers and a couple of pilots. That, it's all about Chewie. But I don't know. Again, another plot contrivance. And actually that leads into something else here. I apologize if I'm jumping ahead too much, but the stakes in this movie, they try to raise them and then they pull them back almost right away. So right away we get the idea that in order to translate the Sith message, 3PO's memory has to get wiped. And I was kind of surprised at how cold they were all. They didn't give a shit about 3PO. And also,
none of these characters did. And I actually want to point it out. I'm actually pissed. They're trying to replicate this Han Solo kind of characteristic in Poe, where he's always arguing with 3PO, and I hate that.
Yeah.
I absolutely fucking hate the way they just say, 3PO, shut the fuck up. Fuck these guys, man. It's 3PO. He's supposed to be annoying. Let it slide. Diehard Star Wars fans enjoy 3PO. Anyone who doesn't enjoy 3PO, seriously, fuck off.
It's really mean-spirited.
Yeah, it's very mean-spirited.
And it's played for a laugh, which I could not stand because it was so unnecessarily cruel, and yet we're all supposed to kind of laugh at it. Now, I'll admit that I kind of chuckled when 3PO said, "Oh, I see that you didn't mention me, but I'm okay." I kind of laughed at that.
Yeah, I laughed at that.
They were willing to wipe his memory. That would not have been something that Solo would have, well, I mean, in a Solo kind of way, they would have probably found a better way to play it.
No, they would have done it, but they would have felt bad about it.
They would have felt bad about it.
Yeah,
that's my point, right? It's like from a stakes perspective, like I didn't mind that they were introducing this thing like, hey, this is serious, guys. Like this is a big deal, and none of the characters felt the weight of that other than 3PO. Like 3PO's making this big sacrifice, and everybody else is just like, cool, thanks 3PO.
Exactly,
just get it over with.
Well, you have this scene, and they play it in the trailer as some very important moment. They're manipulating the audience saying, shit, 3PO, you might not make it, or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. That's direct manipulation to get your money and get your butts into those seats. So you're there, and no one's around. Not even fucking Chewie is in that scene. So you're jumping ahead to Kijimi, which we're not even there yet. But Chewie's not even in that scene, the one character who's known him this whole time. no R2. So you have this fucking new droid Dio and BB-8 and these new characters. They've hardly spent any time with them, and they don't like 3PO. They don't give a fuck about him.
It's okay, Harry. It doesn't matter because his memory comes back like 5 minutes later anyway. Right?
I know, but so it's a fake.
It's like it didn't matter anyway. The whole
so
thing
let's
was
get back to Pisana. I agree with you, Jeff. So let's get back to Pisana. We got a fake
Star
fake
Trek
out.
Nemesis.
Yes, Nemesis.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
It's the same thing, right? Like Data sacrifices himself. We're like, nah, he's just going to upload it into B4. No emotional impact.
Spoilers, Andrew, but it didn't take, bro.
Spoilers for those who haven't seen Nemesis. Watch out.
20 years
for a
later.
completely different property. Didn't take, Andrew. Didn't take.
I was actually, for a moment, I actually considered only talking about Star Trek Picard while you guys talked about this movie.
I haven't seen the first episode. No comments. I'm binging it. I'm waiting.
I actually did spoil it.
Every time you mentioned, like, oh, let's talk about this scene, I would have just picked a random scene in Star Trek Picard to talk about it. I honestly considered it for like about 1 second. Anyways. No, but Jeff, you actually make a pretty good point about the stakes because we'll talk about even more scenes. The movie overall is so spineless because when the ship blew up on Pisana, I'm like, Chewie's not in that ship.
I just want to point this out. Now you're talking about the deaths. You got 5 fake outs that I recorded. 5 fake death fake outs in this one movie. One is Palpatine. That's kind of a fake out. Oh, he's back. You got the 3PO fake out. You got the Chewie fake out. Later you'll get the Kylo fake out and the Rey fake out. There you go. 5 fake outs. I'm just listing it. 5 fake outs. Anyways, don't talk about it.
I'll give you 2.
Okay, that's fine. I counted 5. So
no,
there are 5 fake outs.
Wait till you watch the card and you'll see how many lights there were. I'm going to have you spinning in circles. Okay, so that's it for Pisana, I think.
Let's do a quick round table of all of Pisana. So Jeff, Nathan, Andrew, how about, what's your take on these whole scenes here?
It looked cool. But it was just another section of the map they had to unlock. I mean, they never fast travel back to it later, but that's all this was.
Totally agree. Like it was nice, but at the same time, it felt like a Clone Wars or Rebels episode that was shoehorned into the movie, where like it was good to know, but it felt a little out of place.
So I will say this. I mean, I agree with you guys 100%. However, I did enjoy a lot of, even though I'm not a fan of this whole MacGuffin thing, everyone's making the comparison to a video game. You gotta reach this checkpoint to make the next checkpoint to make the next quest and so on. This is what this thing is doing here, and it's not good writing. Be that as it may, I still enjoyed a lot of what I was seeing here. Some good action sequences. I like the chase. Despite the humor, they fly now and all this stuff. I mean, that's okay. It's good, fun, tongue-in-cheek stuff. I enjoyed a lot of this, but I had some issues here with the story, and again with what Luke and Lando were doing. They have this whole quest, and they can't sense that 5 meters away from Ochi's ship, there's a quicksand area. You think Ochi might have sunk underneath there? You think they would have thought about that? So, I mean, I'm not clear on all this. And then we didn't talk about the healing, so I know, Jeff, you talked about force healing a little bit. I mean, I'm a pro and a con to this thing. I think it opens up Pandora's box a little bit within the Star Wars universe. Because now people are questioning why couldn't Jedi who are more formally trained for 1,000 generations or whatnot, do they not know about this kind of capability? And could that not come in handy previously? I don't care about that. I'm all for introducing new things. I just think that this is equivalent to... I like the fact that the Jedi are the only ones who are capable of thinking this way, that they can give their life to save another life. I'm going to be honest with you, I thought about this when I was a kid. I said, the Sith are selfish, and that's really the key to immortality, is giving your life to save another. So I liked part of what I was seeing here. My only problem here is that there was, we can look at Mandalorian for all its pros and cons. That healing kind of knocked out Baby Yoda. There was no impact on, and I think there should have been more done there, but there was no impact on Rey healing that snake and so on. But I liked what, jumping ahead.
Well, it hurt her hand.
I think, honestly, if you're going to heal someone in that fashion, your hand should be fucking melted at that point or something. There should be more of an impact. And I think that would have lent some credence to what we're going to see later in the movie, what Kylo does to Rey. Yeah, I think that's a major sacrifice that one Jedi would do to another, because I think if you can just partially do this and partially do that, you're opening up Pandora's box. Why can't anyone do this to anybody to save them from death? I think there has to be a major sacrifice. If you're going to open up Pandora's box here, it can't be con blood. And that's what this is. It's con blood. I mean, be fucking serious here. It's fucking Gunblade.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, there should be a sacrifice. You need to be able to transfer some of your hit points to the other character in this case.
But I think this concept is worth exploring in the Star Wars universe. So
Yes,
I'm happy they
totally
bring it into the picture here. I think it partially works and it partially doesn't work. I'm 50-50 on it. But I think it's worth talking about here. But going back, you have the dagger, you have this whole quicksand thing. I mean, man, there's some questionable story points here. The fact that Luke Skywalker can't figure out that the shit's underneath the quicksand, and quicksand is literally like 5 meters away from the fucking ship that he searched. And I want to also bring up before we leave Pasan as Dio, who eventually leads them to Exegol, I believe. So he sees a droid and he doesn't bother opening it up, him and Lando. I don't know. Weird shit happening here, man. That's all I gotta say. Thank you for agreeing with me.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Well, it's just the further personification of the Luke Skywalker here. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Guy can't, he's here exploring the whole thing. 5 meters away, he can't, no, they're fucking quicksand site. Let's check underneath the fucking ground.
The thing, though, is that we've only seen force powers push something into the sand. You can't pull this out yet, so I don't know.
Luke had difficulties pulling out.
Oof.
Oh, I don't want to go there.
Yikes.
No, it's terrible. Not Luke. It would have been someone else.
Come on, guys. It's a family show. Let's move on here.
I'm fucking sorry. Sorry, guys.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, that was fine with these scenes. It's fine. So we'll go for, what's this other fucking planet called again? Jesus Christ.
They go to Kijimi after this, right?
Kijimi. God damn it. Okay. We get a little play with Poe's backstory. He's got this love-hate relationship with some Kerry Russell's character. Again, we don't really need her around for anything, but so they get, what was it? Babu Frick, right? Was the name of
Yes, Babu Frick.
the droid smith there. That's who right. Messes up, gets the information out of 3PO. Okay, so we understand. Okay, so now we have the map to the other clip, right? Which is the location of the Wayfinder. Right, so the transcript tells us the location of the next Wayfinder, which is on a moon in the Endor system. But we also get another showdown with the Knights of Ren, Kylo, and the First Order. So Rey and Kylo have their lightsaber duel across the Force, basically, right? So picking up on the thread from The Last Jedi where they interact with each other through the Force. So let's talk about that a little bit, because I think that's the most important thing that happens here. One, because of how it shows how this interaction can work, and two, because of the reveal that Rey is in fact Palpatine's granddaughter.
He reveals that here, right? When she's on the ship?
He reveals that here when they're fighting across, like, she's on the ship trying to retrieve the dagger, and he's on the surface looking for her, right? So, and then they're fighting, but they have that connection to the Force, right? Yeah, so this is where he reveals to her that, guys, Palpatine likes to fuck. That's the reveal.
Well, as sidious as that is, that he had some intercourse sometime in the past, this is one of the few highlights of the movie. I loved this Force connection between Kylo Ren and Rey. I know it can open up a can of worms, and again, another version of Pandora's box here. Well, why can't other characters have this kind of thing and transferring things between the Force and all that stuff that we'll get to? But I found it interesting because you kind of have to let things go when you're watching these movies and see something new. And I'm all for that. And it makes sense if this is where it ends. And we're not going to open up timelines and time travel and planes of, interdimensions and all this kind of stuff. So I'm okay with it. I think it's fascinating to explore. I wish they explored more. So I'm happy to see that. I think one of the highlights is Rey versus Kylo in this whole movie. Fucking fantastic. So I enjoyed all of this. And I'm okay with the fighting in different locations through the Force. I think that's an interesting concept. There was some artwork with that. I think Rey and Kylo being up and down vertically and all these kind of things. I think that's a very fascinating thing that needs to be explored further. So I'm glad to see something new here. And I think that's one of the more interesting facets of the movie. So I'm happy with that. Be that as it may, I mean, Kijiji and all this kind of stuff, and then all the fighting on the Star Destroyer, I don't want to skip over that between Finn and Poe and 3PO and them getting onto the Star Destroyer with that fucking coin that Zori Bliss gives them, and then that hangar when they enter is basically empty except for 2 stormtroopers. And again, I'm going to use the word verisimilitude. I mean, there is no verisimilitude in this movie and in JJ's movies in general. It's just whatever works for the characters, We're going to make it happen to move the story forward. It doesn't matter that we're breaking rules, that we're shortchanging things. It lowers the stakes, and I just go, man, I mean, it's that easy to come into a Star Destroyer? Come on, man. You know, stakes are up at this point. The First Order is like, they're siding with the Emperor. You know, things, we had 16 hours to an attack. Let's bring our security up like 100-fold. Let's pay more attention. However, nothing's here. It's just easy to break in and break out and whatever. So I'm not a fan of that kind of shit. And I think the story drops the ball there. You compare it to A New Hope and them breaking into the Death Star. While there's some, you can still question it. It's still a movie. Slightly easy for the heroes, but they had more adversity in those few scenes than they do here. And it's just not acceptable. So that's all I'll have to say about that.
Are you sure?
Anyone else want to talk about these scenes?
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it. I mean, from an action standpoint, like some of what I saw here, fighting across the Force, yeah, I kind of buy that as a really interesting aspect of the Force, although I was initially confused because in The Last Jedi, it was established that Snoke was doing that. So now is it like,
right.
Well, the Emperor is still facilitating this? That's a minor quibble, maybe just open up the floodgates. But using the coin to get on the ship, that's one thing I think is very poor from a storytelling perspective because, yeah, I get it. It's written, it's all contrived. But what should be happening, I think, is that you should be showing the characters using their wits as opposed to saying, okay, well, we don't have time to like show them fiddling around with stuff. We just need like the magic coin to get them onto the ship. And I will admit, I went to the bathroom somewhere around here too, I think early on. So there's a few scenes I missed, I think.
You didn't miss much.
Well, yeah, because you know what? Like when I was reading through the synopsis, I'm like, I can't even entirely identify where it was that I did walk out of the theater for a few moments.
Yeah, for me, it's like transwarp beaming. Like once again, it's something that they added to the story that just doesn't make much sense. Like I never really liked the fact that they were able to transfer objects from their fight to the other location in order to make a plot, like in order to fill the hole in the plot. And even on Kijiji, like I like Kerry Russell's character, but it's another one where you don't have any emotional attachment to it. You don't see her relationship with Poe. You have no backstory to it. So a lot of these things they're trying to make you feel for, like Babu Frick, of course, awesome. And he totally needs a spin-off movie where I think it would be a blockbuster. In general, I just found they assume that there was an emotional attachment. And then the coin to get onto a Star Destroyer, like that, it's just... It just felt so rushed to make a plot point.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
They make cool toys, though.
Okay, guys. So, anybody want to pipe in on the whole Palpatine-Rey connection?
Holy shit. Where do you even begin?
Well, yeah, we got to talk about this.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about this. I think this is pretty important. Who wants to go fucking first?
Well, I think it's slap in the face to what happened in The Last Jedi. I think we agreed 100%. This was one of the strengths of The Last Jedi. Even though that it was overplayed because previous Jedi had no bloodline. Right. It's not like it's a family of Ki-Adi Mundis and like Plo Koons that are just, constantly being Jedi. Force presents itself into different people, and there you go. You go be trained to be a Jedi. The Jedi sense it. They come to talk to the parents. Parents agree to let them go. Here you go.
Talk in air quotes. To the parents in air quotes with a lightsaber.
Well, Jeff, were you there when Ki-Adi Mundi as a 4-year-old was sent to the Jedi Temple? I don't think you talked to their parents, so...
Like, yeah, take them, the ugly little shithead. All he does is eat and poop. Get the fuck out of here, you little rat.
So, to me, it's not something that's new to the Star Wars universe from The Last Jedi's perspective, but I appreciated the fact that she had no relation to anything that was happening in the Skywalker saga. She's just a new character. She's introduced as someone who has huge potential. There were still a lot of questions that were asked. How is she so powerful? How she knows all this stuff? And this is a cheap and lazy way. JJ has done this to say she's related to a Palpatine to explain the reasons why she's so fucking powerful. I'm being honest, guys. That's the reason why Palpatine came back. That's the reason why this revelation was presented here, that she is related to the Emperor. That's a way of explaining everything, but you know what? It doesn't still fucking make sense. She needed training. She needed to know what these things are. That stuff is still a question mark. So it doesn't solve anything. So I still question why Palpatine's coming back. I personally feel Jay's in a bind. Snoke's gone. This is gone. Fans are questioning why is Rey so powerful, how she knows everything, because he didn't bother dealing with it in The Force Awakens. Rian Johnson didn't bother dealing with it in The Last Jedi. You're left here with one movie to deal with as solve that answer. Here you go. She's a Palpatine. Even though she had no training, she knew everything. There you go. Bullshit. It's fucking garbage shit, man. But the thing is, that's the reasoning for it. And that's my guess as to why it's here. Anyways, there you go. Anyone else?
I think I more or less agree. I think another part of the reason why it is this way is because you have someone like Abrams who has nothing but love for Star Wars and can't not see it the way The Last Jedi presented it. It's the Skywalker saga, and it has to be kind of like this thing of legacy. His love of Star Wars is so great that he can't turn away from that idea. I think that is also a huge contribution of this. And certainly fan perception is probably also, it's impossible to say how much that is a factor, but yeah, I was actually kind of, well, not angry, but I honestly thought that they would keep what they had done in The Last Jedi and kept it in this movie. And it's just a huge slap in the face.
It is a huge slap in the face. Fucking huge, man.
Of just sense. This is actually the thing that shocked me most about the movie is that they allowed this to happen. Mm-hmm. I can't believe that they looked, it was like, okay, we're not retconning anything in Last Jedi. Later would read some interviews that came out prior to the movie's release. Like, no, we're going to stay true to what Rian Johnson said. What? No, that was the main thing. The whole thrust of that movie was literally kill the past, forget about it, and move on. And as a meta narrative, which is probably giving the movie maybe a little bit too much credit, let these things from the past die so that you can move on with your life. And this just turns around and says, nope, not doing that. This was probably the only thing in the movie to me that was truly shocking, but not shocking in a way. It was like, oh, that's awesome. I was like, boy.
Okay, so I want to point out here that I haven't listened to the Last Jedi podcast in maybe over a year, but I do have a major memory here that Andrew called out that JJ would change this, and he was right. You didn't believe it. Yeah. So Andrew, what's your thoughts here? You were right. JJ changed this.
Like, I fully expected a change. I didn't think it would just be nothing, but I thought there would be a much more plausible tie to Star Wars canon that would explain Rey. So, like, if she had been, and I can't remember the name of the character, the one that Obi-Wan could tell they had a thing for in Clone Wars, or maybe even being, I know just be like the original trilogy, but she's actually like the daughter of Han and Leia, and they had to separate the two. I don't know. It just, Palpatine, that didn't make any sense to me. There could have been any tie. There could have been like a Jedi that had escaped Order 66 and had a kid, and that they had a kid. I don't know. There was just, Palpatine was the last one on the list because it didn't make any sense. And I still don't understand how he had a kid. And it's just,
it's the birds and the bees, Andrew. Birds and the bees. Yeah.
You guys are going to have to fill me in on this thing, because I've been trying to have this explained to me for a long time, but it just hasn't clicked. But I don't know. I just woke up and I was carrying him, and then I gave birth to him. I don't know who the parent is. Like, that's even a more realistic explanation. It's just, I think Harry hits it where she became a Palpatine in order to get Palpatine in the movie, but it didn't make any sense from established canon that could have explained it a lot better.
She should have been the granddaughter of Kyle Katarn. That's the only thing.
You know what? I want Kyle Katarn. I want a Kyle Katarn movie, man. Seriously, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and a Dash Rendar movie. I'm just going to throw that one. Why not?
Unfairly maligned.
Dash Rendar, yes.
I love. That's a great game. Everyone can shut up.
Let's move on. So we talked about Basana, right? So I think, what's the next step there, Jeff? Is it Kijimi?
Yeah, so Kijimi, because so we had the confrontation. We just talked about Rey and Palpatine, Kylo, their confrontation there. Yeah. From here,
well, we talked about Kijimi, and then
from Kijimi, we go to Kef Bir, which is the moon of Endor.
Oh, okay.
Right?
The ocean.
Because that's the ocean, exactly. So we run into the other, like this, just the defecting stormtroopers. We get another new character, and she's fine. But let me just talk this out here. This might take me a minute, guys. Just bear with me for a second here, okay?
I'm drinking, so go ahead.
So we see the wreckage of the second Death Star, and Rey takes out the knife. Okay, so this is the sequence of events here, as I understand it. So just bear with me. Darth Vader picks up Emperor Palpatine, throws him down an elevator shaft where he promptly blows up, and then the station blows up on top of that. The wreckage from this particular disaster lands on this moon, and then a someone or someone's comes to this planet, retrieves the remains of the Emperor, and takes him to the Sith planet Exegol and reconstitutes him somehow. And perhaps the same someone's, but perhaps a different someone, also ends up on Exegol, or not Exegol, this moon of Endor, uses a knife or builds a knife, builds a map into its construction and to the wreckage of the Death Star from that particular place, inscribes onto this knife the location of the super duper secret Sith planet Exegol, where the Emperor is biding his time to blow up the entire galaxy with Star Destroyers, and then uses that knife, I'm assuming it's the same guy at this point, then uses that knife to stab Emperor Palpatine's son in the stomach because he couldn't find his daughter, and then crash lands on a random desert planet and gets swallowed by quicksand and eaten by a snake. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct, yes.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was confused on who the fuck is building this fucking dagger.
Yeah.
And what is the purpose of it? I don't understand. Yeah. What's the purpose? Why did you not get the fucking Wayfinder and hide it? Bring it to Exegol.
Well, I figure the Wayfinder's fairly well hidden in the ruins of the Death Star under an ocean. I feel like that's a good hiding spot. Or just take it.
No,
you know, if
why
you
is
don't
it
want anybody to find
a hiding spot? He's got He's got what, 100,000 fucking Sith occult followers plus this Ochi motherfucker. He couldn't fucking go grab that thing to protect his secret army. Will attack at the right time. Why is the Wayfinder here for potential rebels or resistance or good guys or whoever to go find his secret base? I don't understand. I don't get that.
It's like a low-rent Indiana Jones storyline the whole storyline's like an Indiana Jones movie, only not good, you know? Like...
I think J.J. Abrams said, I want to create like a Star Wars Indiana Jones hybrid, because I'm not going to get a chance to do Indy, because Harrison Ford's now too old, so might as well do it here. I don't know.
Yeah, and on the surface, like in your brain, that hybrid sounds a lot like peanut butter and chocolate. Like, that probably tastes pretty good. But there's two problems. One, we actually already did the storyline in The Force Awakens, which is the map and the quest. And I was totally fine with how that went in The Force Awakens. It wasn't great, but I thought it was fine. This is too many steps along the way, and those steps then don't make sense. Especially this one. Like all right, fine, we'll follow Luke's notes to where he was searching for the planet, but he was searching for the planet Exegol, and I guess he was on the trail of this Jedi Hunter, but the whole knife thing, like, oh, fuck me, that makes no sense at all. Like, that's
not only that, so there has been videos on the internet that I give on YouTube that I give it credit for, is that Rey had to physically stand in the exact spot for that knife to point to where the Wayfinder is. Forget the fact that this idiot Ochi or the Emperor or whomever is ordering the construction of this knife to point to the one thing that can help the rebels find him, the Emperor's secret base. Why would you fucking build this thing to begin with?
Yeah, why would you build a map to your secret base?
How did they get lost in this when they were writing? So, Jeff, you brought up a good point. And this is like the bad sandwich construction where it's like, what's a good sandwich? Peanut butter. What goes good with peanut butter? Jam. What goes good with jam? I don't know. Pork. What goes good with pork? Leafy greens. Now you've got a leafy green pork jam, but peanut butter sandwich.
It's like, what is this crap?
Oh, amazing.
What is this stuff? Oh my goodness.
It is, Jeff, your recap of it makes me even more confused. Because they are actually in the movie, they are moving so fast that you're just, okay, I'm just going with it, and you're forgetting what just happened. But you're right, all these contrivances, I don't understand. Did they actually write it this way, or was this oh man, we're missing a few pieces here, so we've got to add a couple more MacGuffins, and none of it adds up to anything. I kind of wonder if this is a Chris Terrio thing. I'm not even lying, because
JJ has complete control, guys. I mean, let's be honest here.
Oh, I don't know, but this is a lot of minutia. And this is also a lot of, when I kind of think about it, it's a lot like Batman v Superman, where you're just chasing all these little things that mean nothing and are just completely jettisoned by the end of the movie so you can have your big action sequence. It's just a bunch of nothing. And I think he's a real contributor to that problem. That's giving it way too much credit.
Sorry, Andrew, I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
No, I was just joking, like all these things that, you'd expect people to think of, like, oh, I'm just going to inscribe the secret location of our top secret base where all of these Star Destroyers that actually can destroy stars are hidden on this kitchen knife. And then he shows up and it's like Dr. Evil is like, oh, I knew you'd never find this place. And I don't know. It just...
It's a parody. It's almost a parody.
Yeah.
And he also uses the nap to stab a motherfucker. Let's not forget that. He actually uses the knife as a knife. You wouldn't use the secret artifact knife to stab anybody with it. Like you wouldn't pour a beer into the Holy Grail, would you?
I would. I don't know what you're talking about, Jeff.
All
Dude,
right.
that's like a perfect
bad
copper.
example.
That was
It's the
a
cup of the
perfect copper
carpenter.
mug. A beer would be great in that. What are you talking about?
All right, that example.
It adds an extra flavor, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you may be struck down. You might be smoten, but
But it'd be refreshing.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Rey standing in the exact spot, if only because it's Star Wars and the Force would have guided her to the right spot to use this. Like the Force would have been
That's
like,
right.
okay.
The Force would have
been like, Rey, this idiot left this map, just stand over here.
Yes. It would,
So
but the concept is just so stupid.
The concept is ridiculous. Like, I didn't mind that. Like, it was kind of cool to be in the wreckage of the Death Star. I thought that was, like, there was some really cool imagery there, like with...
And the music.
Like
you're hearing all of those Return of the Jedi bits from when Vader was dying and when when he sacrificed himself to save Luke. The only part of the soundtrack that I do enjoy is when they actually go to Death Star. You hear that. It's unfortunate, and I'm sure we'll talk about the soundtrack later, but that was the one part I did love.
A lot of these movies, I think, these big tentpole releases, where you're obviously making a movie that has these big action set pieces. You want these grand visuals. And I think that a lot of these films are constructed where we want this set piece, we want the Death Star, and they kind of stitch it together in between, And sometimes it works. It's not a very organic way to tell a story. And that really comes across here. Like, you can see those seams, you can see the stitches in between the set pieces. I think a large part of it is this film was also rushed. Production was rushed. They jettisoned the writer, the director far too soon, and they knew that they could like JJ could crank a film out quick, and it did happen quickly, right? So some of these, like, you just Nathan said it, like, and it's a JJ staple, like, you just keep moving so quickly that, you don't even know, you tend not to notice the holes when they're there. I mean, they're so glaring in this one that this is so many holes, but anyway. This is kind of the only major lightsaber battle of the film now that comes up, where Rey and Kylo are dueling sort of in and around the wreckage of the Death Star here. Fairly obviously a major point in the movie here. But for my part, I mean, I enjoyed the duel somewhat. I think it was probably the weakest of the lightsaber action in the three movies. The setting was great. I love the raging ocean around. I thought that created a cool setting. And one thing that I definitely enjoyed that we haven't seen in a lightsaber before is that, like, Rey you could see she was getting tired. Kylo just had her beat and she was just exhausted.
Yeah.
It was kind of a metaphor for how I was feeling when I was watching it the first time, but I also thought it was a neat addition, because it was just like you start to feel the hopelessness that kind of comes with that as you get worn down and worn down. So let's talk about that a little bit. How the scene played. We won't talk necessarily about the resolution just yet, but how that played out with a good fight. And yeah, anybody want to just jump in? Andrew, you jump in, man. You're so fucking quiet.
Whoa, I think that's one of the first times anyone's ever said that about me. No, I actually really enjoyed it. It was different, and I appreciated the fact that they got the lightsaber battle over early, because we'd already seen them fight a number of times. And it was good to see Kylo Ren actually, best Rey. Like, he should have done that in The Force Awakens. It didn't make much sense. I don't think it makes much sense now that he actually was able to lose in that one. But I like the fact that you pointed out that I think they had these scenes in mind, or these locations in mind, and the visuals for the Death Star. Like, it was well shot. Cinematography was great. I really enjoyed that sequence. So while it took a very contrived story to get to this point, I really enjoyed how this whole sequence played out. So I was really enjoying myself during this particular point in time. And it didn't feel like a fan service moment to have it on the Death Star. It actually, I think, made sense, and it was fun to watch.
I'm not calling anybody else. Jump in.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Well, I was going to say, I felt kind of mixed on it. I felt like there wasn't a whole lot of energy.
I had the same point. But anyways, go ahead.
Okay, I'm not crazy. Somebody else feels the same way about because I mean, parts of it look cool, but I just felt nothing. It's like, okay, and then there's, she does a flip and it's cool, and I don't know. I just was not connecting with any of it. And at the time too, it's like, well, okay, it's like middle of the movie, or I don't know. I may have been sitting there for 7 days at that point. I have no idea. And so it kind of felt that, okay, maybe it's going to be not quite like as an energetic battle sequence, but it just kept going on and on. And so it was a good location. It just should have been maybe a bit of a shorter sequence. I don't know how you would have fixed that for me to enjoy it more. I don't know.
Same kind of feeling, Nathan, is that felt like these guys were just kind of doing the generic, I'm coming down, I'm blocking, I'm coming down, I'm blocking. There wasn't really anything there that was interesting. Felt very different from, say, The Force Awakens fight, where it felt a little bit more, the stakes were higher, it was more of a more organic fight. Here it was, I felt like everyone was just low on energy. The way it was filmed didn't feel like there was a lot of stakes to this fight, and I don't know why that was. It could have been because I think on my second viewing I was trying to notice the soundtrack provide anything here to supplement what we were seeing, and I didn't think I noticed anything. That could have helped raise the stakes, but it wasn't there, so it lowered the stakes. So I think that was a problem. But I agree. I love the setting of everything. I think it was fantastic shot. Just that I didn't feel anything. And I think that's a big problem with the movie. Outside of the fact when they were in the throne room itself, I thought that was all great. The minute they get outside with the water and the waves crashing down on them, I thought that looked great. I didn't feel anything. And I think that's a fault of the execution of the filming. And nothing more to say about that. I mean, I don't know, Jeff, how far you want us to go into what happens here with her stabbing Kylo and Leia interfering and stopping Kylo from beating her. I thought that was fantastic, as Andrew pointed out. They're getting tired, Rey's getting tired, and Kylo Ren finally bests her. Looks like he's about to strike her down. I'm not sure why, but beyond that, it looks like he was about to do the deed, and Leia stops him. That's what she sensed, so it makes sense from that perspective. But now Leia's dead, and Rey takes the advantage, stabs him, and heals him after the fact. So interesting stuff. Some of it, I enjoyed it for the most part. Nothing more I could say about it.
I expected her to lose an arm in that sequence. I'm not even joking.
That's not happening.
I honestly.
I mean, that would have been consistent with Star Wars.
That needed to happen in the previous film.
I agree. I just in the moment.
Yeah, I mean,
at this point, we're already committed to this nonsense film, and so it's like, why not lose a leg? Lose a leg. Now she's just gonna have robot legs now.
Well, she can't. Well, you can't do that in the third act. Pretty much leading into the third act of the movie.
Or gets her head decapitated, but then they give her a robot head and then build a robot body for the head.
So there's two Reys.
And they call her Data?
They
call her Data. I enjoyed it for what it is, but I think I'd like to talk about more than the fight is what the stupid Maz Kanata character for exposition.
Oh, she's in this.
Oh yeah, she's in this. It's like, Leia's got to do what she has to save her son. She knows what's going to happen. I understand what's going on here. It's like, what is this? Who's writing this? I don't get it. You're telegraphing that Leia is going to reach out and die through this Maz Kanata character. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I right?
You're right, and because you got to kill her off somehow, right? You don't have any death scenes.
So I hear you, but you know what, Jeff? It's unfortunate Carrie Fisher died. I would love her to be alive, or naturally and organically, because she did die. They should have killed her off in a different way earlier in the movie, or in the opening crawl. I think that would have been better. Because this does not work enough. Because that's a major character you're killing off, and I'm not sure it works. It's not a good enough payoff.
Well, I don't know. I mean, she goes out in much the same way Luke goes out. So there's some connective tissue there.
But then she should have appeared. You have her footage. Have her appear in the same vein that Luke appeared in Last Jedi.
Well, but she's not as powerful though.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get down to power levels, man. I mean, we got to make we got to make it make sense.
Also, but it's the same difference though, right? Like she reaches out and has like so whether you see her in that scene or not doesn't really matter.
That would have been more powerful is that a vision of Leia appears between Kylo and Rey, and he's about to strike her down, and he stops. That's it.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Minimal difference, but okay. I think that would have been more powerful. So, anyway.
I don't know. Again, like
the scene is weird because the Maz Kanata. Like it's weird because she's kind of there because you need someone's
explaining it to the audience.
I have no idea.
She's an expositional character. She's explaining it to the audience and telegraphing that Leia is going to do something to help save Rey through the Force. Or interfere through the Force.
Bad magic trick.
Yes.
Right? It's like, don't ignore that this silhouette of Princess Leia because we don't have a shot of Carrie Fisher. So, look at over here at Maz Kanata. It was a little bit like that for me.
I mean, I hear what you guys are saying. I feel like if we're gonna pick nits on this movie, this one's
tough because they had
low
nothing
on the ladder for me.
No, I agree because they didn't have anything with her. But the problem is the decision to use her in this fashion. I have a question about because I'm going to be honest with you guys. If Luke was going to get involved in any scene, here is where he gets involved. You have Mark Hamill.
Because he's dead.
Why can't he appear?
Because again, like I said before, then you give too much weight to these characters that are dead and give them too much ability to interfere, and then that undercuts the fact that they're dead. I think there's a point where they can't. Obi-Wan says it himself. If you choose to face Vader alone, I can't help you.
Well, he says that for different reasons. One, he can't physically stop Vader from doing anything.
Yeah,
and
but he
two,
couldn't.
and
Why
two,
did he show up?
No, but two, he's telling Luke, if you're going to do this, you're going to skip your training. Fuck you, man. I'm not going to interfere.
No, he's not saying fuck you, man. He says, I can't help you.
No, I interpret it differently. You're not going to listen to us. You're going to go off and save your friends and not complete your training. I'm not going to help you. That's
Obi-Wan's not that big a dick to throw the fate of the galaxy into a spat. That wasn't what he said. He said he can't do it, not that he wouldn't do it.
Well,
you can interpret what you want, but that's what he said.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Jeff. I mean, right or wrong, Lucas had an idea about where this was going. Obi-Wan and Yoda would interfere later. Whether that was executed right or wrong.
No, but he didn't do that, though, did he?
No, he didn't. But
so it doesn't matter what he thought. That's a story note that he himself wrote up.
Anyways, whatever. Leia's fucking dead.
I think, and there's the central thesis of the movie. Anyway, whatever.
I just wanted a moment for the emotional weight to land, which is what this movie never did, was give you a second to just let it land. So I wanted that to hit there. So, right. I guess we talked about the Force healing. She heals Kylo and steals his ship. So let's dive in here because this is obviously a very important part of the film here where he gets healed and he is left to ponder the mercy that she shows him. And I don't know. I think there's a fair amount here. So does this work for you? Is this enough to turn Kylo back to the good side? Is this enough for him? Or is this enough for you to believe that he's ready to come back? I think it's also compounded with the death of his mother, which I don't think he was ready to reckon with the moment because they can feel it through the Force. She's dead. So how's this work out for you guys? Harry, you just jump in first.
Okay, well, I'm going to harken back to our prequel trilogy here, Jeff. We complained about Anakin's heel turn to the dark side. There are elements here that work. I really do like the scene between Han and Kylo, even though it's a memory, and he's replaying that whole scene out. Although I do question how Han Solo can grow some hair here.
Can I posit a theory here, though, Harry, just before you continue, where you're like, it's a memory? I think he's having a vision of the Force. Like Yoda said, this is a thing that was possible when he was training Luke. What did he say? Like, people you will see, places, the past, the future, old friends long gone, all of that. It's a memory, but he's seeing a vision in the Force.
Well, I think you're doing a discredit to Ben Solo's machinations in his mind that are occurring at this point. He's replaying that out because he wants to make a change at this point.
Right.
He recognizes, because I love that moment when Rey says, it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I wanted to take your hand as Ben Solo, not as Kylo Ren. Even though she doesn't say not as Kylo Ren, I wanted to take your hand. Love that. Fucking amazing. And that kind of, whether you want to call it sexual tension or just realization that, you know what, I'm doing the wrong thing here. I think that initiated that memory to occur. And he needed to go through that thought process to, throw away his dark side saber and say, you know what, I'm wrong and this is the right way. And I love all that. I'm going to say two things. It's not enough based on what has happened before. Unfortunately, it's still the same problem as what Anakin went through. Even though I buy this a bit more than Anakin falling to the dark side, I buy this it's a sliver. I buy this a tiny bit more because they had these moments play out in the previous films. But it's not enough because Kylo was still a selfish SOB. It's not enough for me to buy that he's going to drop everything and turn back to the light side. So they don't do a good enough job. The second thing here is I really do think that this was an opportunity for Luke to appear to Kylo, master and apprentice. I know they wanted J.J. Abrams, loves Harrison Ford, so that's why fuck Luke. I got Han Solo back. It's my man. I realized the impact of him playing that memory. I think if Luke was there, he replayed the same dialogue or similar dialogue, I think that would have worked a lot better. Because to me, it is so fundamentally missed. The connection between what Luke and Kylo is completely ignored in this whole movie. That was a huge thing that was revealed in The Last Jedi, that there was a problem between master and apprentice. Mm-hmm. And you needed that here to resolve that problem. And he could have played
even more than father and son, you think?
100%. Honestly, man. Or you could have had them come in as both. Luke could have presented a vision to...
That would have been interesting.
Luke could have presented a vision of Han to Kylo. This way you also get Luke and Han together in a scene. Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill in a scene together. Fantastic. Missed opportunity. Another one. They had an opportunity in Force Awakens to have all three characters together. Nope. Here's another opportunity. Nope. But I think that would have worked better. Both of them together, father and master, talking to Kylo Ren through a vision. I think they could have worked a bit better. Actually, not a bit better, a lot better. And it was needed. And I want to throw all of the Han Solo stuff away, because that stuff, to me, is not important. I think the fundamental issue here, master versus apprentice. The Last Jedi told us there was an issue here. Kylo Ren turned partially. He was already corrupted. How? We don't know. Problem with the movie. But he had an issue with Luke raising a saber against him. It needed to be master and apprentice here to resolve this problem. And I'm sorry, J.J. had the wrong instinct. He went back to Harrison Ford. I don't know what he's doing there. His favorite man should have been Luke. And Luke is the heart of Star Wars, man. And that's what needed to be done. It's not just because he's the heart of Star Wars. Last Jedi told us it's an issue between master and student. I'm sorry. It's the wrong instinct, narratively speaking. That's my opinion.
Well, see, you're wrong, Harry, because JJ didn't direct Last Jedi, so therefore it doesn't matter.
Well,
no, I'm joking. I agree with you. It's as though JJ didn't even watch the last movie. And that, I think, would have hit home a lot more, because I feel like the father-son thing, that's resolved.
I agree.
That's resolved. You had one shot, and why are we going back to that well again?
I don't know, Jeff. What do you think? Andrew?
Yeah. No, Andrew, you go ahead. I'll go after you.
Is Andrew still there?
Andrew's dead. We killed him.
Oops, pushed the wrong button. That's what. Anyways, I think Harry's description of it is really great. And for me, I found the events should have contributed to him eventually turning, but they totally missed out on the whole Luke-Kylo Ren relationship and why he turned to the dark side, and resolving that. It never got resolved. And so while I think the scene was good, I didn't mind seeing Han Solo in this. I think they should have left that full reveal and his turn till the very end. But I think they wanted a number of scenes later on in the movie that required him to turn earlier. But I still think there's just so much that he's done that for this to be the moment where he turns, it's a little bit of a stretch. But I think it's just for a plot point.
I thought it works really well, personally. A lot of it relies on Adam Driver selling it, because there's not, like, the situation is okay, and the words it's written, it's kind of a minimal scene. Like, could it work? Does it not work? I don't think it works without his performance, and I think his performance sells this very well. Fucking love Adam Driver, by the way.
He does good. He does good work. I want to ask you something, Jeff. Now you're talking about performance-wise. Do you think this works better than Anakin's turn?
Yeah.
From a performance perspective, because essentially it's the same thing.
Well, and that's why I say, like, without... I disagree. Okay, there's a few things here. So performance-wise, without Adam Driver's performance, does it work? I think it works better
in this
than
scene,
Anakin's.
Though. Just in this scene. Only the scene.
Yeah. Does it work better than Anakin's turn? Absolutely. Totally works better than Anakin's turn. Anakin's turn didn't make any sense at all. But they almost overplayed it.
Also, you're trying to compare a performance between Hayden Christensen and Adam Driver?
I am.
Come on now.
And sorry, guys, I am. Adam Driver does a better performance throughout the movies than Hayden Christensen. I'm not comparing that. I'm talking about the turn scene. And I think
the turn scene works better, yeah.
No,
yeah, here it works better.
What I mean, though, is more to Jeff's point that, I mean, Adam Driver, if it had even been even more poorly written, because I'm more on your side, Harry, about this, but I feel like it could have been even 10 times worse, and Adam Driver would still, like, not sell it per se, but give it, like, an overall better performance. I think it's way less believable than Anakin's turn.
Here's the thing. I think that there's actually an emotional reason for Kylo. I also think that Kylo was on the verge of turning back the whole time anyway, right, going back to The Force Awakens, because he even says when he's talking to Darth Vader's mask that he feels the call of the light still. So he's always been on the edge, and he's not succumbing And in The Last Jedi, like, he doesn't give a shit about the dark side in The Last Jedi. He just cares about himself, but he cares about his goals. Like Jedi, Sith, none of that mattered to him. So I feel like he was right on the edge anyway. But this is an emotional revelation for him. Somebody shows him mercy, which is a concept that he's completely alien to him and anybody in the dark side, which is part of why some of the other stuff later works. So for somebody to show him mercy actually has a personal, individual impact on him. Like he watches it happen. Anakin's turn didn't have anything personal around it. There was the vision of maybe Padme dying in childbirth, perhaps, but there wasn't anything present. There wasn't anything urgent in Anakin's turn. It was all just with that. And he was like, okay, all right, I'll be on the dark side now. Oh, okay, you're right. The Jedi are evil. Even though 5 seconds ago I was ready to arrest you. Like, they just talked about it. None of it was emotional. This had that emotional center. And that's kind of what the Force is sort of about, is emotion and passion. It just fits better here for me.
I disagree, Jeff. And I buy Anakin's turn just as much, even though I don't like it. There's still problems with it. And I saw problems with Kylo's turn back. But comparatively speaking, it's equivalent. Even Hayden's performance in that turn is fine. It just, from a story perspective, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Same thing here. Story perspective doesn't make a lot of sense. So you just give up on your goals, whatever they may be, whatever your motivations are, which are still unclear. I want to point out, since Force Awakens for Kylo Ren, I don't know what his motivations are. I don't know what his motivations are here. They don't tell me anything about that. So, at least from a motivation perspective, I believe Anakin's turn more than Kylo's turn. From a motivation perspective.
We'll talk about motivations. I have more to say about this, but not yet.
Okay, well, that's all I want to say. Performance-wise, about the same. Now,
not even close.
Performance-wise, and the moment of the turn.
Anakin just sits there.
Same thing.
Or kneels there.
Sorry.
Mind you.
I say the same thing with Kylo Ren.
Oh, you're out of your fucking mind.
Anyways, that's okay. I mean, good enough. Let's go move on.
Yeah.
Okay, Kylo Ren goes somewhere, I don't know where, and Rey goes to Acto.
Well, Rey goes to Acto, and yeah, we don't catch up with Kylo yet, right? But, because we don't see him again till the end, right? So, Rey goes to Acto, crash lands Kylo's ship, and finally we get Luke's Force Ghost. And I don't know if they lost his wig.
They did. Oh, you noticed it too? Oh shit, yeah, he looked terrible.
I felt so bad for Mark Hamill, man.
I know.
It was...
No, because they probably he grew out his natural hair for Last Jedi.
Oh, he did? Okay.
I'm assuming so. I think this was just a wig. I'm assuming so.
Oh, yeah.
So what's going on in the Netherworld is a little fucking weird. I'm telling you. Because it looks completely different. You know, we don't joke about it, but the hair looks fucking off. Yoda's teeth are missing. Han Solo's growing fucking facial hair. It's like...
Well, yeah, like
it's just like he
just got out of the shower or something like that, you know? It's like, man, where's your blow dryer, dude? They don't have those in the afterlife? Shit. Because I was thinking back of, like, the reveal, like Luke's reveal in The Force Awakens, just that when he turns around. And I remember watching that and like, oh man, damn, he looks good. And then here, I'm like, ooh.
That hair did not flatter Mark Hamill.
No, it did not.
It was terrible. To me, this just screams the importance of what Luke Skywalker means to Abrams. I mean, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but I mean, it just looks like, okay, first take, fuck, I don't care how he looks, let's get it done.
Yeah, I disagree with you there. I don't think he hates on Luke like you think he hates on Luke. I really don't.
I'll talk about that at the end. It's not about hate. It's about the disdain of the character.
I don't think he disdains him. I just don't think he knows how to write him.
Either way,
I don't think he knows what to do with Luke. Anyways, that's what I think.
Whatever. Move on. What did you think of the scenes between Luke and...
I mean, they're okay, I guess. And there's not a lot happens here. And the pep talk doesn't resonate a whole lot with me. I said in the synopsis, like, confronting fear is the destiny of the Jedi. What does it mean?
Well, Rey's scared of who she might become.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, but is she? Like, she doesn't know who Emperor Palpatine is. What the fuck does she care? You know, like, there's no weight given to you.
I do think that there's some hints here that Rey is, like, angry at this point. Rightfully so.
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't talked about... You know, we're 2 hours into this fucking podcast. Do you know how much we've talked about Rey, Finn, and Poe? 0. That explains a lot about this fucking movie. So,
who were the other two? I don't know those other two people you're talking about. Rey, Scarecrow 1 and Scarecrow 2, you mean?
Actually, I am curious, what were they doing at this point? It's been like almost 2 months for me since I've seen it. So that's a good point. I don't remember what the fuck they were doing this whole time.
No, there's not a lot, but I also want to focus on Rey here. So Rey, again, they force her to have some agency in this movie by forcing this fucking bloodline of Palpatine onto her. But again, she doesn't have agency to herself. And I feel it's still a problem. And it's unfortunate. I feel sorry for Daisy Ridley. I really do. She's fantastic. I want to love her. I love Daisy Ridley. I'm smitten. And I think she can be a fantastic actress. I really do. Just, she's really unserviced in these movies. And it's unfortunate. I just want to say that.
Well, if you had to do a book report, like in junior high, and you had to describe Rey's character,
it's all through other characters.
You'd have trouble, right?
Yes, it's all through every other character. Now, in this movie, it's all about Palpatine. It's not about her. It's about Palpatine.
I feel like you'd have that problem with a lot of Star Wars characters, not including Luke, but my opinions on that is going to send Harry through the fucking ceiling, so we won't get into that.
No, you better not talk shit there, man.
I would never talk shit about Luke. I just respect him in different ways. But what I'm saying is that, Rey, the only character Rey has is anything that Daisy Ridley brings. She's bringing a lot to a character that is very blank.
Yes, and that's
it's her performance, and that's it. And that is a problem.
Totally
There's
agree.
No character. Yeah.
So, just talking about Luke, let's talk about her and Luke. What does Luke really give her in these moments? Just tell her just to face your fears, which is a valid point. That's part of a Jedi's trial. It's just that there's nothing much more here than that, unfortunately.
I think there's another problem here, and again, I'll talk about it afterwards. But yeah, there's not a lot here. I think there's two things here. One, she gets Leia's lightsaber, and two, she gets Luke's X-Wing. So, she's carrying that legacy and that physical manifestation forward, and that's the only point.
I want to say one other thing, Jeff. You know what really pissed me off both times I watched this movie?
Just one?
Is the fact that they made a big deal about Luke lifting the X-Wing. And I was fucking pissed. He has moved there. He's just doing a callback. Nostalgia. Yeah. Oh, look, remember he forgot he didn't believe? Okay. Now we have Yoda's music. Yoda lifted it. Now Luke can lift it. Bravo, Luke. I did a little little clap for Luke. He's beyond this bullshit.
Sounds like a real clap, not a clap.
He's beyond this bullshit, man. Really? Yeah. Really? Yeah, you're telling me that this is a moment for Luke?
No, it wasn't a moment for Luke. It was just a goofy little callback.
Yeah, it's callback.
He was having fun with it.
Man. Yeah, well, fuck J.J. Abrams, man. Fuck that shit.
I don't know, man. I think...
No, it's bullshit. Luke is beyond this, man. Fuck this crap. Right? We're supposed to, all of a sudden, hey... You know what the funny thing is? My little daughter yesterday, Luke didn't believe before. Now he believes now. Thank you. Fuck this shit.
You yelled at your little girl.
And this is why it needs to be a video podcast, because this would be priceless.
But,
yelling at his twin daughter.
But, as I'm saying, 6-year-olds, who are my daughter, that's my daughter, they recognize and applaud this. I do not. Fuck this shit. This is bullshit nostalgia.
I don't know, dude. Luke had kind of a bemused look on his face. It wasn't an accomplishment. It was just a thing that happened. It wasn't a big deal. No, do you think it was that big a deal?
It's not a big deal, but this is the bones they throw to this character. That's my problem with it.
I think, all right, just to be serious, I hear what you're saying. I don't think this was a bone they were trying to throw to the character. I think this was a bone they were trying to throw to the audience. There's a lot of fan service in this film.
Exactly. But in the end, the result is the same, Jeff. You're doing it through this character. He's already been, anyways, whatever. I don't buy it. It annoyed the hell out of me.
The whole sequence was useless. I don't know why Rey needed this pep talk.
She didn't. In the end, this was just trying to fix Ryan. We haven't talked about this yet. Ryan Johnson versus Jay. Right. This is J.J. shitting all over Ryan Johnson saying, look, hey, I'm trying to fix Luke, guys. Ryan Johnson was wrong. Here you go.
Okay. Yeah.
That's part of it.
Okay. I didn't want to do this yet. You're like, this is JJ shitting all over Ryan Johnson. All of the fucking fans shat all over The Last Jedi. They're like, this is bullshit. Luke wouldn't have done this. Luke wouldn't have done that. The movie wouldn't have done this. This isn't Star Wars and all this other bullshit. So now JJ comes along and is trying to fix it because the fans, I don't want to alienate anybody, but frankly, fine, I'll just say it. The fans were wrong about The Last Jedi.
They were, was the director, because the fucking Last Jedi was a fucking tease. I'm all for a new take on Luke, but it was a fucking tease. Yeah, because they brought it back at the end and everything was reset as per normal.
Fine.
If you want to explore, the Jedi have no right to use the Force, or Force users have no rights to use the Force, and you want to make him a space hippie, great, explore that in more detail. But the fact is, That didn't happen. That was a
Well, it
tease.
didn't happen because
he came back
the fans
around
hated it. No, but the fans hated it.
The fans hated it because it was
but
a
it was
waste.
Good.
All of that was a waste.
It wasn't a waste.
No, man, it was a waste because that didn't happen. Luke came around at the end. Hey, Jedi need to die.
Listen.
No, they don't. Now there's a new Jedi. It's Rey. I did nothing. I was wrong, and it's re-amplified here. I was wrong. Sorry.
They could have done, love it or hate it. One thing The Last Jedi did do is it gave whoever was going to take over, because when Rian Johnson did it, he didn't know what was going to, I think it was still Colin Trevorrow at the point, but whoever was going to do episode 9 could have done whatever he wanted. So they didn't set it back to the beginning. They opened it up for whatever you wanted to do. You could have done anything at that point. And the fan reaction the critical reaction to The Last Jedi is actually very positive, but the fan reaction to The Last Jedi was, fuck that. So then what happens at Lucasfilm is Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger, and they all get together and they're like, well, okay, the fans hate it. We can't have that. We got to do what they want, which is the same old bullshit. Mm-hmm. So who did they bring? They brought in J.J., who did the same old bullshit with The Force Awakens that the fans fucking also hated, by the way. So it doesn't make any goddamn sense to do the same bullshit again. So what does he do? They brought him in to do the same shit, and he came in and did the same shit. And I don't understand the fans. They're like, don't do the same thing. We hate that. We want to see something new. And then the guy comes in and does something new, and they're like, we hate that. Don't do that new stuff. We want the same stuff. And then a guy comes in and does the same stuff, and they're like, we hate the same stuff. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
I only partially agree with you because you're not really giving the fans who are complaining enough credit to what they want.
I'm not giving them any credit.
Yeah, you're not giving them any credit, and that's a problem. Sorry, Jeff. I completely disagree with you. Not that we're here to appease any fan, but I'm just saying there are legitimate criticisms to The Force Awakens. There are legitimate criticisms to The Last Jedi, just as there are legitimate criticisms to this movie.
Oh, yes. There are legitimate criticisms to these three and all movies.
That's right.
But those were not driving factors behind the creation of any of these movies, was the legitimate criticism. The legit criticisms are like the same for any movie. But it's like fuck it. Let's just move on.
Well, the only thing is you and I have been talking. Nathan, Andrew, you see Luke again here talking to Rey. Chime in quickly before we leave. It's really your only chance to talk about Luke.
I don't know. It's kind of a nothing scene for me. I mean, it's cool to see them together, but to me, like looking back on it, only served the purpose of, okay, we've got to get a second lightsaber into the mix here now.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it kind of was for me. And they just had a nice little bridge there. And, Luke's kind of shoehorned. I don't even want to talk about the scene.
Andrew, how about yourself?
Yeah, I think it's similarly, like, I felt more when Yoda appeared in Last Jedi than I did when Luke appeared here. Like, it didn't do it for me. And just to see the X-Wing be lifted out of the water, and like, okay, thanks. Like, seeing that before, like, I feel bad for Luke. That's all I'm going to say.
And I agree. The one question I do have is, like, what happened to Luke's green saber? Still a mystery.
Yeah, that is a mystery, isn't it?
That's a good question.
I really like that lightsaber.
I would really like to have known what happened to that saber. I'm assuming at this point Luke threw it into the ocean when he arrived at Acto, but whatever.
But if he did, at least I would have liked to have seen that he had done that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. There might be a comic book where, some future archaeologist, maybe Indiana Jones, you never know. He boards one of those planes, those alien planes, gets to Acto by some accident. Oh, I found Luke's saber. This somehow feels a little interesting.
Well, when he turns it on, I just hope he has the right way up.
Yeah, that's right.
Next on Disney Plus, the green lightsaber.
We'll do a whole miniseries on that. You know what I did like is the flashback where they're training, Luke and Leia are training with the blast. That was cool.
That's great. And, I'm happy for Leia. That was for the character of Leia, and I'm happy. And that's
Yeah. It was bittersweet as well, because I'm like, it kind of gives you, like if Lucas had decided to make other Star Wars movies like in the late 80s with the original cast, where they were still young and could do lightsabers and stuff, like what could have been, sort of bittersweet in that sense. But it was a cool little thing there. I'm glad they did it.
Yeah, I'm glad they gave that much to Leia.
Yeah, it was cool. Okay, so she takes off to go to Exegol to face the Emperor. She leaves the signals behind for the Resistance, and this is where we, like the Finn, Poe, and Chewie, get back to the Rebel base and discover that Leia is dead. Poor Chewie, man, he's seen everybody die here, so he's had a rough go. That's too bad.
That was a bit of an overreaction.
You think so?
I think so. I think he should be sad. I just think it was just a little bit of an overreaction.
Consider how, I mean, you gotta consider how Chewie can emote to the audience, though.
I look at him like a Klingon. He would scream into the skies, and he wouldn't fall to his knees and bang the ground and pull a Captain Kirk. He's banging the ground with his fists and stuff like that, and I don't know. I think it was a wrong instinct to tell that actor, Jonas, whatever his name is, I can't pronounce it, to pull that. I didn't like the scene. Should have been a little bit more subtle. I had 2 views of this movie, and I felt the same way both times.
Okay. I guess we're into the final battle now, right? Pretty much. Rey arrives on Exegol and confronts the Emperor, and, as it turns out, he just wants to use her as a vessel for his spirit. And I guess all of the Sith that have come before, which is also a new thing. And the good guys show up to start shooting Star Destroyers that all have planet-destroying laser beams now.
Hate it. Sorry. I can't. That was word.
Thank you, Andrew.
Oh.
Get in there.
The fleet, I kind of get. But for every ship to have Death Star capabilities, I'm like, oh, God. Like, they just... that's all I'm going to say.
Kind of sure makes the Star Killer base seem pretty stupid, doesn't it?
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
You know what? I think that this would have been a good idea 2 movies ago.
Yes.
I'll tell you why. Okay, you guys agree with me.
Yes.
I'm still going to tell you why. One thing that I was kind of hoping was going to happen with the First Order is that they weren't just going to be another Empire clone. Like, they're like, we want to bring order to the galaxy. I was kind of hoping they were going to be more like an apocalyptic cult. You
said that originally, Jay.
I did,
a long time ago.
And this fleet felt like that. Like, we're just going to blow everything up, And so, like, that would have been a cool concept 2 movies ago. Like, we've got all these ships and every one of them can destroy a planet. So, a neat idea, 2 movies too late for me.
Well, are we just going to talk about high level, or you want to talk about the whole third act every little bit? Or do you want to focus on one thing and do another thing?
Yeah, let's do one thing at a time. So that's the first thing. I guess, I don't know. That was the fleet. Andrew hated it. I guess we all didn't think it was a good idea, right?
No, it's not a good idea. And I have another problem. I'm a little confused on what's happening here. I know the fleet has their Death Star weapons and guns, but they're rising. Was there something with the shields that they have to get into space above atmosphere for the shields to turn on so they're vulnerable in atmosphere? Is that correct? I'm a little confused. I tried to pay attention even more so, even though I was trying to explain a lot to my 6-year-old child next to me here as the movie was going on. And they enjoyed most of it, by the way. But I'm a little confused on this whole, let's forget the Emperor and Rey and Kylo scene. What's going on with the fleet? I don't understand this concept of the Star Destroyers rising. They're taking more than 16 hours to get into space, apparently. Because this whole thing's happening since the announcement. This whole movie's occurring over 16 hours. I'm assuming. So we got Lando off trying to find other people who want to come in within a 16-hour time frame. We got Star Destroyers trying to rise above ground to space within 16 hours. And if they don't reach space, their shields don't work. And they're all reliant on a navigational tower to go up. Am I correct in this?
Yes. It's something like that.
I couldn't make heads or tails of what the hell was going on because at one point I was wondering, like, I honestly for a moment had thought, whoa, this is the First Order too? Like, who are these guys now? Well, I guess they kind of were. That was the other thing that I couldn't really understand. It's like, okay, well, Emperor Palpatine, you're back and you're going to build this First Order and then you're going to build this second other fleet that's not the First Order. It's going to be this the final order. Oh boy. Yeah. And like, it was just like, what is going on here? Because I was like, why are their uniforms different? I was like, oh wait, it's the Final Order now. I mean, I like the idea of those types of weapons on the ships, but like, wow, you're in the third movie. Come on, that should have been the first movie. And then it was really confusing. Why don't they just fly up? Like, I didn't understand what the rule was now.
Yeah.
And also reliant on this one satellite dish somewhere that eventually, well, it's there. Oh, no, it's up. Yeah, it's this one here. That one doesn't matter anymore. I was so confused, and I had sort of assumed.
No, so I think what happened, Nathan, is that the First Order realized that the Resistance was targeting that one navigational tower on the ground. Then they transferred it to the lead ship, which still doesn't make any sense, because all they need to do is get to space for their shields to actually turn on, and there's no Mutara Nebula.
Why?
There's no Mutara Nebula to disrupt their shields, so I'm a little confused.
Boy.
So I don't know what's going on.
I think the intimation was that there was some kind of nebula. Like when you see Rey, like Kylo at the start and Rey at the end there, like navigating to Exegol, like they got to go through some weird nebula.
But they weren't in there.
So the planet was in there.
And you know that little thing that they have to navigate through when Kylo at the beginning of the movie exits it? It's like the distance of maybe a few 100,000 kilometers, which is nothing.
No,
why couldn't people go around it? I'm a little confused. But anyway.
I don't know what people go on around it, but the thing is like, cause I think the planet is inside it though.
Not from the first shot of the movie when Kylo goes to Exegol.
Anyway, no, I have to see that again. Right?
When he exits it and goes towards the planet, you can see that kind of orange reddish cloud of whatever it is only maybe several 100,000 kilometers, which is nothing from a space travel perspective. But anyways, we're getting into Star Trek territory here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's okay. You have to
there's a navigation issue for some reason, disrupts their shields for some reason. Again, this is kind of the thing is like I think they probably had the visuals for this. Like they wanted to see a certain thing. And in order to see that certain thing, the writing follows that, right? And it just is a little thin. And I can sometimes I can live with this stuff, sometimes not. I'm like 50-50 on it. It's okay.
But why did they make it so complicated? It's like, okay, the ships they're just leaving. Like, why make it anything?
Why aren't they instantaneously in space?
Or that?
Well, the reason why they're not instantaneously in space is because then the Final Order would win. And
so thank you. That's the reason why.
Right? That's the reason why.
Well, why couldn't it just be like, okay, they just haven't powered up yet?
Well, why wouldn't they have them? The thing is, like, anything is a contrivance. Like, it's all a contrivance.
At this point, we're so far along in the movie, it's like, who cares anymore?
Down to this point. You're so exhausted.
Andrew, any thoughts here with this whole concept of them getting up and shields activated?
I'm still stewing with the space battle for Rise of Skywalker. Like, Wesley put it best. She's like, it seems like they just put this scene together just to come up with like an Avengers Endgame type scene where everyone shows up to save the day, but there are like hundreds of Star Destroyers. I just don't. The space battle in this, it just doesn't make any sense. And I did not like the space battles in this trilogy at all. I loved the land scene. I think I'm looking forward to like talking about what actually happened on the planet, but everything that happened above it, I did not like it at all.
Yeah, but when else are you going to see somebody ride a horse on the hull of a Star Destroyer?
I saw it yesterday on like my way into rowing that morning. I don't know, like you've got Star Destroyers everywhere, and horses on top of Star Destroyers makes perfect sense. Like, oh god,
I'm pretty sure if you plumb the depths of Star Wars fan fiction, you're going to find some horses in there somewhere.
Not the way that they used them in this movie.
They should have been tauntauns.
Yeah,
that would have worked. Andrew. Oh, that's such a good idea. That would have been great. I guess I did like where they're like, well, jam their speeders, so they're not riding speeders. And I was like, okay, fine, it's okay. All right, so let's get down to this.
Well, sorry, guys. I want to just talk about a couple things. So we're forgetting two things before we get into the, climax of the movie. The stuff we really want to talk about that's really important. We got Hux, and we got Richard E. Grant playing this new admiral here. And I like Richard E. Grant as an actor. Let's talk about Hux as a spy. And he got pretty much Qyburned, that character from Game of Thrones. I want to put out here, my sister loved that mad scientist character in Game of Thrones and was so devastated that he was just pretty much given an Admiral Akbar neck crunch, thrown to the ball, and he was done. I thought that was appropriate because he was a side character. Essentially what happens here to Hux. Jeff, I know you're a big fan of Hux. I want to talk about Hux here. Tell me, what do you think about Hux? What happened to him?
I thought it was great. I loved it.
I loved it too. I loved it too. Great. I thought it was fantastic. He was such a useless character. But I want to say, I think there was potential for this character.
Well, in what sense though? Because he was always kind of a shit. I don't know that you could have given him more to do. I thought he actually did a really
radically
good job.
Different story. Again, as I talked about at the beginning, is if the First Order kind of split and there's a civil war or military war going between two factions of the First Order. You have Hux, you have Kylo, you have the Resistance taking advantage of that conflict. That could have been interesting.
Like, that's not a bad idea. I don't know. It's hard for me to try to rewrite these movies, Sometimes I have the urge to do it and sometimes I don't, but he was kind of portrayed as kind of a shit. If it was like a Grand Moff Tarkin type of character, then sure, I could go with you on that one.
But wasn't he in Force Awakens, essentially? He had a lot more pull of what was happening here.
He didn't have the weight.
No, he did. The Last Jedi undermined that weight, and it looked like, to me, this is again going back to Rian Johnson, you fucked with my character, so I'm just going to throw him under the bus. I got a new guy here, Richard E. Grant. This guy's not important. I'm going to kill him as soon as I can.
Yeah, they definitely, I mean, there was definitely that. There was something going on there where just like, no, don't fuck with my characters, don't fuck with my characters. Like, there was a little bit of that going on, sure. But I don't, even going back to The Force Awakens, I don't think Hux had too much. Like, he was good. I liked him, but I mean, because of his youth, I don't, yeah, maybe he could have done that.
Look at The Force Awakens, the way he was presented. He was presented as almost someone, he was in control of the military, not Kylo Ren at all. That's right, the way I look at it. So,
yep, I agree.
So,
yep.
Anyways.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it.
So, Andrew, Nathan.
I don't know. I'll admit I kind of laughed.
I laughed, yes.
When they shot him. But at the same time, I didn't really like what I thought there was like at least potential for that character, but it was, again, on its own, it's maybe not that bad for me, but we're just constantly just recycling a bunch of characters. Like, we reintroduce characters, we're not doing anything. We had these new ones, they get dumped. Now we're introducing more characters. So, I don't know. I felt like it was kind of a waste, but I guess, yeah, what do you do? Because in the last movie, they just made him into more of a comedic, well, not quite comedic, but not one to be taken very seriously. And so him getting finished off in that way, I guess, is kind of appropriate, but not based on how he was initially set up. I was a little shocked that they even bothered to do that to the character. It's like, he'll just blow up somewhere.
Hux was such a wasted character. Like, I saw him as being somewhat like Agent Callus from Rebels. Initially, when I saw Force Awakens, like, he has a good potential, but now I just see him as being a great character to appear on SNL as undercover boss. Like, the actor, I don't know the name off the top of my head. He's a great actor, seen him in multiple things. There was so much potential that it really sucked just to see him.
He's got to feel shortchanged here. Definitely, that actor.
He got to be in 3 Star Wars movies.
I'm sure he felt that his character had more to give than this. But anyways.
Yeah. So
speculation.
It was funny, but it was one of those where it was like a funny, oh gosh, like they could have done so much more with the character. And once again, I go back to Callus from Rebels. Like, the way that he was portrayed, I thought was a great way to show an Imperial agent or Imperial officer who is defecting with like Hux supplying information just because he doesn't like Kylo Ren. Yeah. Sorry. There's so much wasted potential.
Okay, Jeff, before we get to the planet, I was chiming on the battle here, space battle. Whew, I mean, this is the final battle. It's supposed to be happening in the big saga. It's episode 9, and these Star Destroyers all fall like paper mache. So, I'm a bit disappointed. There wasn't a lot to the space battle. Wasn't any iconic imagery. Jay is known for, we were all happy with some of the imagery he provided in The Force Awakens. I didn't get any of that here. I felt that this battle, no one was paying attention to it whatsoever. So let's forget about Lando finding all these people within 16 hours and they show up. A nice little endgame moment they have there. I think there's a couple of endgame references we have is what Rey says to Palpatine just before she kills him, and then this moment here, on your left, Cap, all that stuff like that. So it's just not done very well here. And, there's some logic problems with Lando finding all these people. I like the concept and the theme. The people, they make a point of saying, who are all these people? I didn't know that the Resistance had this kind of a big navy. And it's like, oh, that's not just navy. These are people. Fantastic theme. It's just a throwaway line. It's not built to anything. So, I don't know. I just felt very underwhelmed. And there was nothing to this space battle. There wasn't any scenes. A couple blazer blasts, Star Destroyer's gone down. And they replicate that for every Star Destroyer. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? To round it out. I was disappointed.
I'm with you.
Yeah, it was fine.
Okay, Andrew? Okay.
Still reeling.
All right, well. All right, Jeff.
It wasn't even good enough to be angry about.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking forward to a pilot going, I'll try rolling. That's a great trick. Like, that would have been a better.
Okay, well, maybe.
Well, no.
Okay, so. Okay, maybe let's talk about this because we have 3 main characters in this movie from the good guy side. So Finn and Poe are involved in this battle. So why don't we have spent almost 3 hours here? Has anyone talked about Finn and Poe? No. How about we talk about Finn and Poe? Because they're involved in these
Finn
scenes.
Poe? I don't remember a character called Finn Poe.
Yeah.
Who?
Who? What? Well, they didn't do anything.
All right. Well.
Why do we want to talk about them? They're not important.
Okay.
I thought they were really integral to that Star Trek Picard episode last week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Remember when they killed those Romulans?
I agree.
Don't remember anything. Like Finn was talking to the stormtrooper because she's black, I guess. Poe, where's Poe and all this? I do not recall. That's no lie. I don't remember what he was doing at this point in the movie. But what is there to talk about? Because early on, there's a bunch of great stuff, and then later, it's just like the movie is just so it's collapsing under its own weight. So they just get lost somewhere in the shuffle.
Like, I think it could have been much more impactful had it not been like a fleet of Star Destroyers, but it had been like a new clone army that Palpatine had risen up, where it's not necessarily, hundreds of Star Destroyers that can blow up planets, but it's just a mass of people that, like, of clones, like going back to like coming full circle. It would have made a lot more sense than just.
Well, I think anything could make sense. It's just more sense than what we got. It's just, I'm still confused on what we got. Star Destroyers can't rise into space they rely on some navigational array to tell them which way is up. So that's what I got out of this fucking movie.
There's not a single joystick on any of those Star Destroyers. All you need is a joystick and a window. You're good.
Yeah. And you need your wine.
And it takes 16 hours when to get into space, but that's okay.
We have these movies postulate that a small child who's never flown a ship can destroy like large vessels in a space battle and survive, seemingly by accident, but they don't build in like a basic flight mechanism to these Star Destroyers. Like, we built them. How are we going to get them up into space? That seems like a question that someone should have asked.
I have one other stupid question that I wrote down on my notes here. Who's manning these Star Destroyers that were buried under ice?
Yes. No, okay. That's a really good, because it was just so confusing. Who were all those people?
You got, hundreds to thousands of Star Destroyers there?
I heard the math. It's like 1 billion. It's like apparently 1 billion people. Because it's like 70,000 people to man a Star Destroyer. And because they say the First Order guys are like, well, this will improve our fleet 10,000-fold. If they have like 1,000 ships or something like that, then it's like 1 billion troops to man these ships.
Well, my favorite part of this all, Jeff, is they were buried under ice for, 30 years, I'm assuming?
Well, I think they were just under the atmosphere there. I don't know that they were buried under ice.
I think Palpatine raised them under. That was JJ's favorite shot in Star Trek Into Darkness, is like, raise the Enterprise in water, so raise the Star Destroyer.
He wanted to do that, for sure.
So, yeah.
No, but they were under their own power. That wasn't Palpatine raising them.
No, my point being is who is living under ice for these several
years? They weren't under ice. That was like the thick atmosphere of this weird planet. So like their shipyards were under that. I'm pretty sure
on the second viewing I saw them come out of ice, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, that's all good. Let's move on to the more interesting stuff on the planet.
Right, the planet. Talking about here. Okay. So Rey goes to face the Emperor here, and she's got both lightsabers. She's got Luke's lightsaber, Leia's lightsaber. She goes to fight the Emperor. He's got his roadies there up in the stadium, a lot, thousands of them in the arena.
You know what is perfect, Jeff, is like they did a cutaway to like the Phantom Menace pod race, and you have that 8-armed guy selling food to those people.
Yeah, the 8-armed guy selling food, Quadraneros, maybe the pod racer himself.
That would have tied it together perfectly.
That lizard dude went before he blew up. Great.
I think they should have been selling some food or some T-shirts being thrown out into the crowd. I think that would have been fantastic.
The announcer.
That's gotta hurt.
That's gotta hurt. Actually, that's been hilarious. If he's like providing play-by-play and the other head's providing color for the lightsaber battle, that would have been awesome. Sadly,
we could do it in the edit. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, we can re-edit that. The extended cut of The Force Awakens, or of The Last Rise of Skywalker. Okay, so she confronts him, and the plan is revealed that he wants to kill her, or no, she needs to kill him, sorry, and then his spirit will pass into her, because that's that, and she will rule as the Sith Empress. Okay, fine, I guess. Ben Solo shows up. The Knights of Ren. Let's just pause for 1 second and talk about the Knights of Ren concept dangled in The Force Awakens, not at all mentioned in The Last Jedi. And we see them in action here. Kind of a load of shit, right? Like, these guys are nothing. We're never anything.
You want me to tell you a little fun fact, Jeff?
Okay.
They came out with a comic book recently.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Did you hear about that?
Comic book, yeah.
The Knights of Ren. You know who their leader was? His name was Ren.
Ren? and the Knights of Ren. If their leader had been like, if their leader's name had been like Ivan or something like that, or Doug. The Knights of Ren's leader is Doug.
Oh man!
And we're like, why the Knights of Doug like that? You know,
I'm just confused. Why didn't after Kylo took over? Why didn't they call them the Knights of Ben?
Ooh, missed opportunity.
I don't know.
You know what? SNL should have done an undercover boss episode on the Knights of Ren. That would have been funny.
Well, I think that's one of the best things that came out of the prequels is like Matt, the radar technician, or the sequel.
Yeah.
That Saturday Night Live bit. I think
There's a new
that
one.
still stands as
There's a new one.
prop.
Yeah, you guys got to watch the one they did last night. It's really good. It's really funny.
Just the Knights of Ren, like his name was Ren. I can't think of anything more lazy. That was also another thing we never talked about because also they're not really in the movie, much like Finn and Poe. Like, they're just kind of around, but they're not, and they look cool, I guess, but like.
They look like they're from a Final Fantasy game with like the giant sword and the big hammer and stuff.
I was going to say I feel like they're from Dark Souls. Sorry, that's just the kind of game that I have. But yeah, it was kind of weird because I would have thought that being an Abrams idea, I'm guessing. I was like, well, yeah, I would bring that back, but they're just, I mean, that could have been anyone that he fought there at the end. So what was even the point?
Fight was nothing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Exactly. It was nothing.
He had no lightsabers, so they conked him over the head. He was down, he got his lightsaber, and they were out in 2 seconds. So that's it.
Which kind of made sense, though. Like, once he had a lightsaber, that fight was done, which is how I would expect a fight like that to go.
True. 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. But then who are these mofos? I don't understand. I don't understand their importance.
They're fine if you don't have a lightsaber. That's what those mofos are. Like, if you had, like, a knife or a regular sword, they would mess up your shit. Lightsaber?
I wanted Geralt of Rivia to come in and just lop all of their heads off. That's what I want. I wanted Cavill to come in.
No, the thing is that Henry Cavill is a Knight of Ren, though, Harry. That's what you don't. That's what you're missing.
Jeez. I'm sorry. I feel sorry for Cavill even more so. That's true.
Yeah. Love Henry Cavill. Great.
I love The Witcher. So he did great.
Yeah.
Let's just get that on the table. I love Cavill as The Witcher. Boom.
Yeah. Nope. I think we're all in agreement there.
All right.
Let's talk about The Witcher from now on. How about that? Witcher and Star Trek Picard. That's the rest of it.
When he showed up in Picard, that was amazing.
Oh, man. Okay.
All right, so we agree. Knights of Ren, Bantha Poodoo.
I mean, I'm glad they all died.
Yeah, I mean, what happened to Luke's students? I'm still trying to wonder. I thought they were the Knights of Ren. Maybe they suck so bad.
They went to join the Knights of Ren, and the Knights of Ren were like, these guys suck, and killed them.
Yeah, probably. That would fit in line with
why were they even a
Luke's
threat?
Here.
That's the thing I don't understand. Like, why would the Knights of Ren ever have been a threat?
Good question.
I mean, I guess when you turned Ben Solo over, but they didn't work for Snoke. Are they completely disconnected from anything Palpatine is doing? It makes no sense.
Fun little fact. I mean, I think I caught it on the second viewing. Is Ben Solo comes in with a blaster, shoots a couple of people. I'm not sure who they were.
They're stormtroopers. I think.
Stormtroopers, and then he had no blaster for the Knights of Ren. It just magically disappeared.
Oh boy.
Well, okay. Here's the final throwdown. So here's how I remember it. So she beams Luke's lightsaber to Kylo so he can kill the Knights of Ren. And then she whips out Leia's lightsaber. And then Kylo shows up, so they face off together, which goes nowhere because he just drains their life force and discovers they're a dyad in the Force, which is totally a thing we've heard of before. And then they're down, right? And then Ben gets up and he gets knocked into the chasm. And then Rey gets up, and this is like Palpatine's like shooting the Force lightning into the sky. And this didn't look great to me. I didn't like that. And then he tries to zap her, and then she gets the second lightsaber and melts his face off, and he blows up.
Did you do the gesture there, Jeff? Face off? I just want to make sure.
The face off. Face off.
Podcast is saved.
Podcast is saved. She should have done the gesture.
Yeah, she should.
As he melts, she's been like, face off. So he melts the fuck down. Why the fuck? So he soaks up their energy and all of a sudden his clothes regenerate?
That's true. His clothes become new. I don't understand.
He was basically just wearing like the regular black cloak that he was wearing in Return of the Jedi. But when he soaks up all their energy, he's wearing like the stuff from Revenge of the Sith, like the red shirt under the tunic underneath
No,
is
the more
red,
fancier
all of
version.
that.
Yeah. No, see, that's the problem with Palpatine. He was so obsessed with his looks that he diverted some of that Force energy, which would have saved him, into regenerating his clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
If he just didn't do that, he would have survived. So.
Oh, those are some of the, dark side of the Force unnatural powers that he must have been talking about.
Yeah.
Dark Taylor powers of the Force. Those are the Garrick powers of the dark. Okay, so 2 lightsabers, everybody. 2 lightsabers.
If only Mace Windu had 2.
If only he had that second lightsaber.
Yep.
Then none of this would have happened.
Yep. Nope. The Republic would have been saved. End of story.
Fucking Samuel L. Jackson, man. Double-bladed lightsaber.
Kill every motherfucker in the room. Except no substitute.
Yeah, but he did, and he died. So, so he blows the fuck up. She basically dies. He crawls out of the chasm, and I kind of like this scene where as overt as JJ can be, this is the culmination of Anakin's quest, isn't it? Like, to prevent somebody from dying or bring somebody back from the dead using the Force. He's able to do it. And Harry, you touched upon this earlier, that like, this is not the reason why they couldn't figure this out, the Sith couldn't figure this out, is because they could never have that concept of sacrifice.
That's right. Because they would be unwilling to give their lives for another. That should only be a Jedi trait.
Exactly. So that's what happens here, is he's able to, bring her back, but it costs him his life. But he knew it. That's the only way he was going to be able to make this power work. So of all the flaws of the film, this was I was wondering before this movie came out, like how they were going to deal with Kylo Ben in this film. It's like, are they going to try to redeem him, turn him back? Like, what are they going to do? And I feel like for all of the flaws, that's the one thing I felt like they managed to do, is he was always going to have to die because he's done too much evil shit to go back and hold hands with everybody. No, he's got to go, but able to sacrifice himself. That worked. I thought that was good.
I want to touch upon the Palpatine scenes. I mean, to bring him back in this fashion and to eliminate him that easily is just, terrible. That's all I want to say. It's a shame. It's sad that character got degraded along with all the rest of the original trilogy characters. But be that as it may, I do enjoy the Kylo Rey scene here. So I agree. This is always something that I felt that fits in within Lucas's vision, is that the Sith are too selfish. So that's part of the problem. They would never think of this, or they would think around this problem trying to solve it, but the Jedi can give their life for someone else. The only issue here is I think this opens up a little bit of Pandora's box, but I still think this fits within the story they're trying to tell, the Skywalker saga. So I'm okay with it. I just think it was executed a little poorly. Just him falling back. He's alive. They kiss. I wish there was a bit more of a visual cue on the degradation of the body and the spirit as you're healing somebody else. This goes back to when Rey was healing the snake. That would lend a bit more credence to this whole thing of happening here. But nothing happens there. It's just very easy to do. And then he falls backwards and is dead. And then looks like Leia was holding on for that moment until he passed, and then she disappears. And
was she alive under that sheet the whole time?
That'd be hilarious. I'm still alive, assholes.
Who's giving her CPR here? Come on, guys.
A little weird, a little strange, but looks like she was holding on for that moment. And whatever remained of Leia. Funny, but I can buy it. And that's it. I mean, I like that aspect of it. I do think it does open up Pandora's box a little bit. So I'm a little iffy on the whole concept, but I can let it go. It does fit within the whole Jedi Sith lore. I just wish it was executed a little better. That's all. How about you guys?
Yeah, dug it. Anybody else?
For the most part, I'm kind of in agreement. Although when I was watching the final scene, I was thinking of episode 3 and the scene with Mace Windu. And, in that scene, he's still, at one point I'm like, just stop shooting the lightning.
Yeah.
And you won't kill yourself.
Palpatine just stop? Well, I think Palpatine was doing that in that moment to get Anakin to turn.
Yes,
so
I agree.
In this case, I don't understand.
Episode 3,
yes.
It's just just stop. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop. It's not working. It's not Egg Shen and Lo Pan, and there's a nice happy medium there in between. I mean, she's clearly beating him. So the rest of it, though, I actually kind of felt a lot of that did work for me. And I think because I was really tired and exhausted by the time of the scene, I like what you said there about just the idea of why this particular power now, why the Sith could never figure it out, is because of what the Jedi had in them. So I wish that was maybe explored a little bit more. And I felt I actually do wonder if that was more accidental than anything else.
I'm not sure. What'd you think of the endgame moment there? I am all the Jedi instead of I am Iron Man. And then you also have the callback before, you're not alone, it's on your left cap.
I mean, part of me was like, okay, that's kind of cool, because then there's all these other voices that start coming in, and even the first thing I looked up was
forgot about that.
And so, because there's all these voices, like, okay, those have to be from the animated series.
Andrew, you might be able to list all these people. I recognized a couple. Who was in these voices here?
Oh gosh, there's a couple that I had forgotten about. I know Ahsoka was part of it. There was...
I got the list. I'm looking at the list here, but go ahead and name what you can remember.
I think my brain is a little bit fried. I know Ahsoka was there, Mace Windu was there. Gosh, what's the name of the Jedi from Rebels? I'm terrible with names. He was there. Freddie Prinze Jr., sorry, that he was there.
Oh, that's Kanan?
Yeah. And there's a couple of like weird Jedis who only appeared for like an episode or two from Rebels that showed up as part of the voices. Gosh, who else? Well, besides the usual, like Yoda, Anakin, Obi-Wan, of course Mace, then Obi-Wan again, different Obi-Wan.
Qui-Gon was in there.
Qui-Gon was there.
Qui-Gon was in there. The Sakura, I don't know who that is.
It's another no-name Jedi.
Yeah, she was in Rebels, I think.
Yeah. So I got a problem here, guys, with the inclusion of these characters. So one of the things, Andrew, maybe you can confirm, because I think you have also seen the animated series, and this fits in with what George Lucas was trying to do with Obi-Wan and Yoda and Qui-Gon, is the fact that the Jedi or Sith were not able to retain their identity or consciousness beyond death. That was something special that was generated for the series with Yoda, Obi-Wan, later Qui-Gon, through the animated series, who eventually taught Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon these kind of concepts. And then obviously Anakin and Luke, and I guess we can extend that to Leia. So beyond those characters, this annoyed me the first time I saw this. And when I found out that these other characters were in this scene and Rey is listening to them, why the fuck are these people here? For fun? Just callback? Bullshit. Mace Windu shouldn't be here. These other side characters shouldn't be there. They don't know this stuff. It is within canon that they are not able to retain their consciousness beyond death. When they die, that's it. Now they're here. And it's for a callback for the fans. Hey, Ahsoka fans, look, we got Ahsoka here. Be happy. I'm waving my hand here. Don't notice it. Enjoy your thing. We're tying your other series together. Look, we've included everybody that you love. Now you can be happy and go home, and don't forget to buy a popcorn on the way out. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, if it had been Yoda, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Luke, that I think would have been okay. The one thing I was really happy about is that they didn't appear as Force ghosts and like help out in the battle. Like I had this fear that they would all show up as like Force ghosts and help out, and I'm like, oh god, that's going to be even worse.
That would have been terrible.
The other thing here is you have to connect it to the character of Rey. Who does she know? She doesn't know these people. I don't know the reason why she's trying to reach out to these people. This again comes down to two people that should have been there for her, helping her out in this scene, is Luke and Leia. That's it. Yeah. So why the fuck is everyone else here? They're servicing the audience, not servicing the story. And I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
It's not just even that. The fact that these other characters who don't have the ability to do this, they're here.
I would push back on that a little bit, Harry, because it's not as though like they're coming back as Force ghosts. I would imagine that like Jedi would, when they die, their consciousness is more or less gone, but there's still an essence of them that would live on in this mystical force of sorts. And so in this one moment here, I'm not saying it's necessarily great, and it is very fan servicey. This would be like Daredevil showing up in Endgame at that very last scene there. It's like, what the fuck is he doing here, right? It'd be like that. But to say that like in this magical world, that is a complete impossibility. I mean, they just invent new force powers all the time. Force can just sort of do whatever. If it had been Force ghosts, I'd be with you. But I think that there's at least like maybe some essence of them that would sort of live on and sort of in that, I don't know, moment of whatever. It's fucking dumb. I know.
I think that's fair. But to add to it, then if you want to go down that route, then it should be Anakin and Anakin alone. This is the Skywalker saga.
Sure.
So it should be the only one who should be then talking is Anakin to Rey, or Anakin in addition to Luke and Leia to Rey. It's the Skywalkers who help, they're like Mickey to Rocky at this point. It's like, get up, you son of a bitch, because Mickey loves you, essentially. So
yeah, certainly from a storytelling perspective, it should have just been like Luke and Anakin maybe. Just that, or even just Anakin there.
And I think that would have been fantastic. This gives Anakin a chance to do something in this saga. It's essentially his story through these other characters. So I'm a little baffled here as to why these other characters are here. And we're not even talking about movie characters. We're talking about animated series characters. With all due respect to the Clone Wars, whoever likes that series, there's strengths and weaknesses to that series. It's great. They shouldn't be here.
It's the ultimate fan service,
100%
is what it is.
agree.
Because I know people who love those shows to death and always talk about, oh, I want this character to show up, that character to show up. And the problem with like Disney is that they don't discount ever doing that, right? They're like, well, yeah, maybe Ahsoka can show up in a live action.
They launched Disney Plus, so they're hoping for hits on Clone Wars. Fuck, man. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who are these other characters? Let's watch Clone Wars. Fuck. Anyways. Jeff,
now, if Baby
thoughts?
Yoda had showed up in that scene, I think I really would have fucking lost it.
Jeff, I mean, I'm curious. You haven't seen the show. You haven't chimed in here. What do you think?
I don't want to undercut you guys. I didn't care. Doesn't give a shit about the voices. It's fine. Whatever.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, I didn't care. Yeah, it's fine. So let's roll forward here, I think. So the movie's pretty much over. We get sort of the token celebration scene back at the Rebel base where everybody gets the hug, except for Porkins too, because he's not a very good pilot. And then we go back to Tatooine, the Lars homestead, where Rey takes the two lightsabers and buries them together in the sand. I actually thought that was a nice touch. I heard a lot of criticisms about that. People were like, well, Leia, they were on Tatooine. She shouldn't have been there. I'm like, well, that was symbolic. Like she buried them together. Like that made sense to me. So I thought that was fine. Like, so she has her own lightsaber built out of her staff. She's also the most heavily armed Jedi I've ever seen. She has the blaster that Han Solo gave her. She has Luke's lightsaber. She has Leia's lightsaber. She's still carried around her staff. She's armed to the teeth. Most Jedi don't have all of that stuff. That doesn't matter. Now she's got her own lightsaber, and I was actually surprised that she didn't have her own lightsaber earlier in the film. You know, I thought she would have made her own by now, but so it's almost a waste. And that's the movie, and she's calling herself a Skywalker now, which I guess has symbolic meaning that I can't find, and that's the movie. So let's just wrap that up real quick, guys. The end sequence there, and then we can finish with our final thoughts. That'll be it. Who wants to chime in first on Yellow Lightsaber Rey? Andrew.
I thought actually it was pretty cool. The ending sequence, like it was good end to the saga, at least from a 2-minute segment standpoint, minus everything else that came before it in the movie. But I thought it was really cool visual. It would have been nice to see that earlier in the movie. But in terms of like linking all of the trilogies together, I thought it was a nice way to end it.
Nathan, what do you think about the final shots?
Yeah, I thought the last...
What was that funny?
That's just your enthusiasm.
Did I miss something here?
I know I did. We're leaving that in, by the way. You can't edit it out.
Random Harry laughing, of course.
Yeah, for no reason. Continue.
Let's see. Well, I don't know. The celebration sequence was kind of whatever. And then the scene on Tatooine, yeah, I thought it was touching. And this idea of your bloodline, even though that's what the movie's about, and a different bloodline, because you can just do that. I don't know. I just didn't understand why even bother calling yourself a Skywalker. I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much because I was just like, okay, that's how we're going to end it. Fine.
Mm-hmm. All right, Harry, if you've recovered.
Yeah, I have recovered. Yeah, I mean, okay. I agree with you, Jeff. I'm okay with going back to Tatooine. It's more for the fans and more for closeout since the original 1977 Star Wars. So going back to this location, while it doesn't mean anything to Rey, it means something for the audience, and that's what JJ is going for. So that's fine. I'm okay with it. Her burying the lightsabers there, fine. I'm okay with it. I think it would have been better on Acto. If you just want to isolate this trilogy, it would make more sense for her to go back to the first Jedi Temple and you bury it there, or Luke and Leia. I think that would have been more appropriate from a story perspective and from Rey's perspective, but I'm okay with going back here. So be it. Her being called a Skywalker, I mean, I know you guys don't want to get into it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. She had no relationship with Luke Skywalker. She should have been Rey Solo or Rey Organa. And the other question is, should she not have found out her parents' names, people who have saved her? She could have chosen their name. I think that's a slap in the face to her parents. But this is not meant for that. This is for the fans. And the problem with doing this is if you want to close out the Skywalker saga, now it's not closed, in a sense. So now there's further adventures of Skywalkers, potentially. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I didn't like the choice of Skywalker there. Again, if Luke and her had a better relationship, I could buy it, but that didn't happen. So that's all I gotta say.
Okay, well, shit, we made it, guys. I guess we can just kind of roll in with our final thoughts here. So, So, man, everybody gets a couple minutes to just their final thoughts. If you want to talk about your thoughts on the overall trilogy, the overall saga, I guess now is the time. Andrew, why don't you go first with your wrap-up thoughts? I know, it's a lot, dude.
So as a movie, I enjoyed it as a popcorn flick comparable to like the Fast and Furious. I turned my brain off. I enjoy the sci-fi. I enjoy the action. It's one of those where you go out just to enjoy explosions and whatnot. But in terms of a Star Wars movie, from what I had always wanted from a new trilogy, I hate saying, but it's the truth, where this trilogy made me appreciate the prequels a heck of a lot more. Where for me, the saga really ended at Return of the Jedi and includes the prequels, because as much crap as we give the prequels, they actually told a story. They developed character, minus, of course, them speaking and them acting. If you were to read it, like the story was something new, the characters, there was development from start to finish. The trilogy didn't feel like a trilogy. It felt like three individual movies that they tried to tie together, which felt disconnected. And they're not movies that I'm going to go back and rewatch like I do with the prequels and the original trilogy. So like, I take it for what it is. I don't look at them like Star Wars property, like Mandalorian, Rebel, Clone Wars. They all feel like Star Wars. This just didn't feel like a Star Wars trilogy. So I enjoyed the entertainment. With like my wife and I, we came out of it like we enjoyed ourselves. And I think it's because my expectations were such that it's not going to be anything like I expect. So just go in and have fun and not take it seriously, because to be honest, I look at this trilogy and I don't really count it as part of like the Star Wars lore. It's like the final frontier of Star Trek. So
With a bold
I didn't
statement.
even enjoy that one.
So how about we rank it? Andrew, if you can give us even a high-level ranking of all of the movies then. We've done that before, so what do you think?
I hate to look back and say what like I thought of the movies. Let me give it some thought, but let's just say that these three will be below the prequels minus Attack of the Clones. I'll have to think about that. But as I said, it's fun as like a summer blockbuster where you turn your brain off like Fast and Furious. So.
All right. Thanks, Andrew. Nathan, you can go next.
Well, after I finished watching it, I thought first episode of Star Trek Picard was pretty good. When I walked out of this movie, I have to paraphrase myself. I said to Jeff, I was like, I don't feel anything about this, which was really disappointing for me. I'm not crushed by it, because I know we're going to get more Star Wars in our lives. And so I remember after Revenge of the Sith, after it sunk in a little while, it's like, man, I'm not going to get any more Star Wars. So this movie is a huge whiff for me. But I don't know, it doesn't really affect me like that much. Like, okay, whatever. It's like, yeah, we've got some highs, and sometimes you get a Thor the Dark World, but you just kind of keep trucking. If I had to rank it right now, after only one viewing from about 2 months ago, it'd be pretty low. Not as low as Attack of the Clones, because I really hate that movie. But yeah, somewhere like, well, I don't know. Actually, it might even be between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith right now for me. Yeah, overall disappointing, but I'm not angry about it. It happened. Sometimes you just get a bad movie and it's unfortunate, but there you go.
You know what, Harry? I'm going to let you have the last word, so I'm going to go next here. Yeah, this movie, oh man. You know what this movie did for me? It really made me not give a shit about anything. I think I'm a nihilist now.
You were so positive about everything.
No,
not just about these movies, but just very positive.
Yeah, everything. I just don't care about anything anymore. Let me explain that a little bit. So as I was trying to dissect this movie and give it a fair critical shake, we try to do. As I was doing that, and I read a lot of reviews and I read a lot of the criticism and a lot of positives about the movie as well. Like every negative review I read, I'm like, yep, I agree. And then I'd read a positive review. I'm like, yep, I agree with that. I agree with that. And I just tried to look at all the criticisms that people had about it. And I'm like, okay, well, they did that in the original trilogy. They did that in the prequel trilogy. Okay, the retconning, yeah, they retconned Darth Vader, Luke's heritage. They retconned. They introduced all these new characters in this episode. They did everything that people said that was wrong about this. Star Wars had already done. So that just blew my mind apart. I'm like, what does this movie mean? It doesn't mean anything. What does any Star Wars movie mean? They're not about anything other than Star Wars. That really put me in a tough spot. This movie definitely doesn't hit many high points for me. I'm disappointed. Here's what really messed me up. And this is going to be very controversial. So just go with me here. In the lead up to this, I watched all of the Star Wars movies in Star Wars universe chronological order. 1, 2, 3, Solo, Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And The Last Jedi I'd watched the day before. And for whatever reason, I watched The Last Jedi. I'm like, fuck, that is a good movie. The Last Jedi is now my favorite Star Wars movie. And then I watched this the next day that took a giant piss on The Last Jedi. And again, I said it earlier, love it or hate it, The Last Jedi gave the ability to the next filmmaker to chart a new course for Star Wars and to make a grand finale to this trilogy. And they decided to not do that because the fans decided The Last Jedi wasn't good, which is why I had a fucking bone to pick with the Star Wars community because they didn't like The Last Jedi for all the wrong reasons. And I'm going to stand by that. But Lucasfilm decided that they were right. And they're like, hey, we need to retcon this. We need to they should have just made this movie as a conclusion to this trilogy. They tried to make it a conclusion to all 9 films and they didn't need to do that. They just needed to make a movie that was the conclusion to this trilogy. And it was just crushed under the weight of the whole thing. It was impossible to make a good movie here. It was impossible to make a conclusion to 9 films. You just can't. And certainly J.J Abrams wasn't the guy to do it. Ryan Johnson might have been able to do it, but everyone they want the same.
Oh.
So that's my rant. And Harry, all yours.
Well, okay, first things first is, can you guys hear me clearly? Jeff, you just kind of faded out there at the end there.
Jeff, it's like through your microphone across the room and you're yelling at it.
Okay, anyways, it's okay. So Jeff, I agree with part of what you said. There are elements of The Last Jedi that Ryan Johnson challenged all of Star Wars. And there was something to go with there. Again, I disagree that I think he did a heel turn and reset everything at the end, so he didn't really change anything. If he was wise, he would have stuck with his process and done something there so the ending wasn't a reset to the status quo. And that was part of the problem of The Last Jedi. And I think that's what a problem is with most of the more educated fans. That's the bone to pick with The Last Jedi. And I agree. I think that this movie should have continued. I think Ryan Johnson should have continued this movie. That was the right choice. He should have done episode 9. Because at least then the trilogy itself has some organic through line through all 3 movies. Because even though Ryan Johnson didn't pick most of what Jay set up, he still picked some of it, continued the story, charted his own path, challenged the fans, and if he stuck with it, he could have really done something unique. That didn't happen, so that's the fault of Ryan Johnson. It's also the fault of JJ, the fault of Lucasfilm. So fuck all those guys, because they didn't have the balls to go through with it. So I don't think this movie was salvageable to begin with because of that reset. And the fact that you bring back JJ, I mean, I don't want to shit on the guy any more than I already have. He is what it is. That's the end of it. This trilogy does not stand well within itself, nor as a continuation of the Star Wars saga. It's just a very fascinating and bizarre look at how the Hollywood studio system fights within itself to generate a movie. And the fact that they did this with no plan and with no through line, and you have Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger at the top of this thing. These people are well respected in the industry. Just goes to show that they don't deserve that credit. So fuck them. They did a shit poor job of everything. So this movie's garbage shit, and I think we all agree it is garbage shit. It's one of the worst Star Wars movies. One of the worst scripts I've ever seen. I haven't read the script, but just from how it appears on screen, it's bad. Again, we keep missing some characters here. Finn and Poe. Who are they? I have no idea. They've just been tossed to the side like Captain Phasma, essentially. That says it all. I think there's some nuggets here that are very interesting through the Force and their connection. A lot of it doesn't make sense because their connection was initially instigated by Snoke, who was Palpatine, and then now Palpatine doesn't even know of it, so he was responsible for Snoke. So most of the stuff doesn't make any sense, but still some fascinating insights into the Force there. But the exploration of the Force wasn't done here in this movie, and I think that was George Lucas's original vision. From what I hear, is that he was going to delve more into what the Force was, and Disney just shat all over that and said, fuck you, we're not using your stuff, and here we are. So I think I would have rather have seen George Lucas and his movies as a sequel trilogy, even if with stilted dialogue and be just like the prequels. I still like the prequels, is what Andrew said. I think it elevates them in comparison to the sequel trilogy. These movies don't fit very well within the Skywalker saga. They're just its own unique thing, separated and disjointed, and it's just a bloody mess. So, complete fail. The fact that you take this IP and just shit all over it, it's bad. I don't know how this happened. So, I don't give this a recommend. It's a garbage shit movie, but nothing tops the original trilogy. Still think Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith are better than all this other stuff. So, that's where I sit. I think the sequel trilogy was a big fail, and it's unfortunate. It's sad that this happened to Star Wars. I'm gutted. My heart's broken. Seriously, my heart's broken. The fact that this could happen in this manner, it's sad. It's killed me. So here we are. That's it.
Harry's dead, everybody. Show's over.
I thought I saw a mushroom cloud off in the distance there.
Harry's robotic heart. His Terminator heart just blowing up the side of the road.
It's like my heart's like Luke's hand floating through space at the...
Yeah. Well, at least it's the temperature it already knows out there. So.
Oh, okay. I want to say this. I wrote this down. I think the only way this movie could have been saved is if Larry David played Emperor Palpatine.
Oh, yeah. That's a great idea.
I want to say that right now for the record. I would have been all in. I don't care, Larry David, to start complaining about, you don't have any fingers, it's hard to wipe your ass, or I don't know what else.
Well, I mean, that's a fair point. I'm sure that's true. But he's got flunkies for that, though, right?
That's right. But I think that has saved the movie. Just imagine Larry David as Palpatine in this movie. I think it would have been fascinating.
I don't think I can unsee it now.
I see very few ideas that you could just throw out there and would make the movie worse.
Good point.
No, but it's disappointing for you guys, right?
It is. In a lot of ways, I feel for you, Harry, like to be crushed like that. And it is very sad. But I guess they will keep making more movies. So
it's not about the movies. It's about, you had these characters. What did Kathleen Kennedy... I don't want to go down the route of someone said this, someone said that, but she literally told George in front of his... We're going to respect your legacy, your characters. I didn't see that happen.
Well, I'm sure they told him a lot of things.
But it doesn't matter if they would have or not. The fans would have hated that too.
Depends on the story you tell. So
yeah, but they hated the prequels. They hated the prequels.
Yeah. Well, this was a reaction to the prequels. Every movie was a reaction to something instead of original storytelling.
Right. But even the prequels were the same thing, and the fans hated that too. So it doesn't matter if it was George's vision or legacy or not. The fans were going to hate it no matter what. That's what I think now. Reading articles and reading rankings and all the reviews, I'm like, what does it matter what they would have done? The fans would have hated it anyway. And I'm not saying that this is a good movie, because this movie's a mess. But I thought the last two movies were good movies. And the fans hated them too. Okay. So they still made $1 billion. So okay. I don't know how much they hated them. But I'm like, all right, well, fuck it then. The reason why companies like Disney, the reason why they're so cynical is because the fans are so vocal with what they like and don't like, and often not rationally. Then it's like, well, you can't win anyway.
I'm going to counter you with this, Jeff, is you're right. The fans demanded this and demanded that. Fuck Disney and fuck Kathleen Kennedy. She shouldn't have caved in. Tell your vision. They had none, but tell whatever vision you want.
No,
don't worry about it. And
agreed.
George Lucas would have said, fuck you fans. He did what he wanted to do. The only thing he curbed was Jar Jar's involvement. That was the only reactionary thing he did. So props to George. He didn't listen to the fans. He did what he wanted to do.
No, he didn't. He did, but then the movie sucked though, right?
No, the movies did not.
Attack of the Clones was terrible.
Attack of the Clones is terrible. The other two are not. So
they're not. No, they're fine. They're fine.
So
although, well, yeah, I don't know. I like Revenge of the Sith.
Anyways, I just want to ask you guys one thing. Why don't we end on a positive note? It's been a mostly negative podcast. Frankly, Jeff and Nathan, I thought me and Andrew were going to be the dissenters here. I'm surprised. I thought you guys would have loved this movie. So I wouldn't say pleasantly surprised, but I thought you guys would have just, eaten this all up.
I didn't hate it. I'll say that. I didn't hate it.
But why don't we end on a positive note? All of us. What did you enjoy? What did this trilogy say? One positive thing. Let's end it there.
I'll go last.
Babu Frick.
Babu Frick. Okay.
Babu Frick.
Nathan?
I will say I really do enjoy all the actors and all the performances overall. If for the whole, not just this movie, but for the trilogy as a whole. But, and in this movie, sure, there may be scenes that don't work and stuff like that, but I think that they are all really strong actors.
I agree. So Jeff, I'll let you go last. That's my pick too. The performances are amazing. I wish all of these actors nothing but success moving forward. I really think it's in their best interest not to ever revisit these characters again. It's just too much bad press. Do something new, do something unique, and I wish them all well. I think they're all great, and if they do their own thing and go into indie films and whatnot and other stuff, I'm sure they'll have plenty of success, and power to them, and hopefully that happens. I agree. The acting was the best part of this trilogy.
Adam Driver. Enough said.
Yeah, he was great.
wholeheartedly agree with you, Jeff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Adam Driver was spectacular, I think, in this trilogy. I love watching him. Like in Saturday Night Live, he's great, and in this, if he wasn't in this,
Yeah, he carried a lot on his shoulders.
yeah.
I guess I have one question. Do you think Daisy Ridley is going to have the success of Adam Driver and Oscar Isaac?
No.
Tough
She's going to be more like a Harry Potter. The Harry Potters, like they all have careers, but they're kind of.
I've only ever seen her in one other movie.
Oh,
Murder on the Orient Express.
I saw that too. That's right.
And
she was fine. What was wrong with that?
She was fine in it, but it was not like, okay, yeah, Daisy Ridley is, going to be huge. It's like, no, she's just.
I think she'll find a groove somewhere, but
I really hope she has a great career. I really hope so.
I think it's going to take a few years for her to find her footing, though.
Yeah, I'm sure a Brinks truck is going to come from Disney, and they're going to do something in 10 years for Star Wars. I really hope they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope they don't.
I think Ray will show up again somewhere. That's what I
think that too.
For better or worse, I just think it'll happen. But at any rate, okay. Shit, we did pretty good, guys. We're under the 4-hour mark, including a break halfway through. So thanks, Andrew and Nathan, for joining us on this special episode. That's a wrap. We'll get you guys back on a show real soon, I'm sure. But we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled programming, I guess. It's my turn, Harry, is it not?
It is.
Okay,
what do you have in store for us next time, Jeff?
Yeah, I was kind of celebrating the launch of Disney Plus. I wanted to do this a little while ago, but a movie that I pulled out of the vault, a Disney live-action film from 1979, I think, The Black Hole.
Great pick.
Yeah.
Great pick.
Wasn't that the alternative name for Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, I guess so. So,
Slam.
Oof.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Again, as I said, hopefully Larry David's in it. We'll save the movie.
He's the robot in it, actually. Okay, well, thanks again, everybody. And I guess that's a wrap. That's Star Wars. That's it for Star Wars for a couple of years. Thanks for joining us again, and we'll catch everybody next time.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Nathan and Andrew. It was fun.
Thanks, guys.
Good, bad. Some people hated it. Some people loved it. It was just all over the place. But it was, to those who didn't like it, I totally get it, respect it. To those who loved it, I'm grateful and dubious of your taste.
Oh, this is great. It's great because I didn't make it. Ultimately, I'm not to blame. People give me about Jar Jar Binks and say, "Oh, this is stupid." Well, you happy I'm gone now? You don't have Daddy to kick around anymore because this is what you get. You know what that sound is? That's the sound of 1,000 executives just taking a shit on my work. I know the ending of this film. I'm going to spoil it for you. Spoiler alert. Here's how the film ends. Ready? At the very end, Star Wars dies.